Are now live.
Welcome to the Podwash Powercast, everybody.
Thank you, Javi. This is
I was gonna say
Powerwash
you probably should.
Simulator.
I probably should
Everyone,
list.
let's go ahead and start introductions. Let's go from the top. Mr. Jebus Man.
Hi, I'm Jesus. There you go.
Praise be.
All right, next up,
Okay.
Crème.
Hello, I am Crème. I am very dead, but I can still power wash like a god.
The
Awesome.
question is, dead inside or outside?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, Sam.
Hello, I am Sam or HeronBear,
I just
and
love the fucking
power washing is my second favorite thing to do besides sleeping.
That's a tough one to beat, though.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
is. Javi, you're going to have to try to beat it.
Ooh, How to beat that? How to beat that? We talking beat the intro or beat sleep?
The intro.
Oh, the intro. Okay. Well, hello everybody. As you already heard, I am Javi. Although I typically like to
Next,
go by
Samarra.
online. Are you kidding me? I like to go by arcade online in honor of the main man. Let's move on to Sadako.
Samara.
All right. So I'm Samarra. I go by Sadako online. I do art, and I am basically the singular person that's a female in this group right now. So yeah.
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 Stop drawing windmills. That.
Imagine the rest of you having actual names instead of just one.
Right.
Imagine having more than one name, chat.
We need some
Listeners,
energy
not
here.
chat.
Of course. Well, actually, there is. We are live streaming, and there is going to be a chat. So,
Ah,
Hooray!
but yeah. So not everyone's actually going to be in the game.
we're trying to keep like infringements and stuff down to like a minimum, right?
Yep. Guys,
The windmill.
Jesus.
I
I'm
love
get
instantly
still.
asking the buzzwords for power cats.
Not a sponsor.
Guys, no singing in the chat. Just remember that.
Hey, what?
No, not
No singing in the chat.
not.
I'm not allowed to play my funny Better Call Saul. We'll have problems.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. No, we will die.
Question, really quick, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, since you can't have copyright on certain sea shanties, would I be able to do that?
Sure. Go
I
ahead.
wouldn't risk it.
That's a fair point.
The safest answer is if you have to ask, the answer should probably be no.
Also a fair point.
I was gonna say. So the end of the day, the question is, how lucky do you feel, punk?
Yep.
Because it's a matter of legally, like, I could probably get away with the first note or two of any of the music things on my soundboard, but it's a risk I should not be willing to take.
If I remember correctly, it's a bit finicky when it comes to singing it, like the person themselves actually singing it, in the sense that
Yeah,
it's
but
technically
depending
a
on where we're
recording.
streaming, it can be a lot worse. Twitch tends
Yeah,
to not be very forgiving.
I can take a look at it really
Twitch.
quick.
I am, in fact, on Twitch.
I'm gonna look up
Yeah,
Twitch
Twitch is
rules for
not
singing.
very forgiving.
Okay,
Oh,
so
we're on
If
Twitch.
we're on
Yeah,
Twitch, am
yeah.
I allowed to actually shout out my channel that I don't really stream on right now?
sure, go ahead. Why not?
Yeah, my as I said, I am Crème of Crème the Existential.
Friendly existential. Nice. Now, funny thing, you might have heard that there is 6 people in this chat, but there is only 4 in the game. Not everyone is actually playing the game at the moment.
I'm poor. I unfortunately do not own it.
I will
I
buy
am in
you the
college
game.
at the age of 27. I can't afford a new computer right now, which is why I'm trying to pawn one off and accidentally broke into a smuggling ring. So, yeah, I don't. I'm gonna pass on.
What a
Good
strong
job.
start to this Powercast.
If any of them are watching my stream for some ungodly reason, you just ousted yourself.
Oh shit, I'm gonna die.
Alright, guys. This is the last day we see Samarra on the face of this
Yeah,
earth.
that's why you don't make the mistake of sharing your name.
Well,
Remember, kids, remain anonymous on the internet.
Hey, Samarra, what's your
Well,
social
I'm
security
dead.
number?
Jebus, no.
Okay.
I was half expecting her to just give some random number. So,
8675309.
this
The
8675309.
We just talked about how we should avoid music,
I just
and
looked
then
into
I
both
it.
of
didn't
us
say
started
it
singing
though.
it.
I just looked into it.
I just
Uh,
said a set of numbers.
Actually, singing it isn't a problem as long as you are not like lip singing to where the actual song is playing. And if the song is considered public domain, it's free game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but to
All
be
right.
fair, some things that are considered public domain are not public domain.
Fair
Like,
enough.
I can't
Let's.
remember, but I know Happy Birthday has always been a heavily contested one.
Yeah, that one is copyrighted, but we're not talking about copyrights today.
What
No,
are we
no, no, no.
talking about?
No. Oh, thank you for asking, Crème. Today we're actually going to be talking about video games. The first podcast, is going to be about video games and what makes a good video game.
Ooh, also,
Oh,
important thing,
who
as
needs
long as we're on
them?
that topic, soundtracks from video games, especially pertaining to a game you are currently playing, those are still okay. Those are okay.
So
Twitch does not always agree with you. A lot of people get copyright strikes
I looked
and
into
like videos taken down for games that they are playing.
no, I looked
Luckily,
into
I
the
don't
current.
think this game has any music.
Yeah, I looked into the current. I just looked into the current like rules and guidelines for Twitch, and that is to the letter what they like what their rules are.
I'm just saying what actually happens.
Oh, I
What
know.
they say is gonna happen is very different from what their system actually picks up on.
What I mean is, if their system picks up on it and it's against their own guidelines, you can call them out on it, and they'll give you back all your stuff at least.
Good.
But back to the subject at hand, games and what makes them good. Are we gonna start out with saying what some of our favorite games are? Because I feel like that's a good spot to start.
That's a good spot to start.
Yeah, I think so.
Mr. Jebus Man?
I like the Luigi board. That's my favorite game.
The Ouija board.
That's a tabletop
Luigi.
game.
That's my favorite
So
board
how you
game
summon
on
Mario?
tabletop.
Yeah, we're talking about
Yeah.
video games, not tabletops.
Actually, is it going to be exclusively video games, or are we talking
I
tabletop
think
games
it
too?
should be because tabletops are such a different
It's in
subject
Tabletop
altogether.
Simulator.
They have such different things that make them good compared to video games that I feel
Alrighty.
it is important to keep them separate.
Okay,
Okay.
let's
Then
just do video games then.
for the sake of integrity, Tabletop Simulator will be counted as just a tabletop game.
Yes,
I agree.
That's good to me.
for the sake of integrity, any virtual form of a tabletop is still a tabletop.
Okay. I like Funbrain, that really old
Oh
game
my god.
website.
Oh, that is,
Oh,
dude, that is a throwback. I haven't played on
Mhm.
Funbrain in
God
ages.
damn.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I still love
Okay,
it for my
I just got
I
sent
would
back
like to
in
make a
time.
note that I am the oldest one in this group right now. So y'all are like, oh, that takes me back. And then I'm over here like, I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX while playing Funbrain.
all right. So, as a friendly reminder, since
Season
it's
one
been brought up
Pokemon,
a few
anyone?
times, chat, do not overtly discuss age. That is against terms of service.
Oh,
Good to know.
No,
What,
no, no.
there's n-
I
It's
can't
what?
even say my
I
age.
don't know. I don't know what the rules are for the streamer, but the chat is not supposed to discuss their age.
I can look up the rules
Oh.
for the streamer.
Because as someone who does watch a fair bit of Twitch, that is something I hear quite a lot.
What's
Is
Twitch?
that you should refrain from discussing your age in chat. A lot of streamers have their age listed in their about me's and whatnot, so that's probably fine. But the Twitch chat themselves should refrain from it.
Heavy, what's your favorite game?
Is he here?
No, he's not.
I mean, Javi. My bad. Still.
I
but
thought we were
Chat
gonna
for
go top to
context.
bottom like we did earlier.
Yeah, chat for context. There's
Next.
in our friend group, there's two guys named Javi. I am one of them. So yeah.
Next would be either you or me.
Let's-
I'm assuming you're
let's
host,
go
so you
with
wanna
me.
Go last?
I'll
Okay,
go ahead and be last because I am the host. Crème.
It is definitely a tough thing to say because I have played so many video games, but I think the all-time classic for me has to be Portal 2
Portal
for
2.
so many reasons.
Portal.
That's super
The
fun.
Portal franchise in general is really good.
The Portal franchise is very good in general, but I'm specifically going to have to narrow it down to two because it really worked off of what the first one had going for it and
I'm gonna have to
refined
agree
it
with you
in
there.
what I think every possible way to
Yeah.
make a
It also
masterpiece.
had the single best video game character rant in history, in my mind. The Cave
It
Johnson
also
rant is
retains.
just so
Oh
good.
God, yes. It also retains one of the funniest scenes in a collection of multiple ways ever, which will forever be the this is the part where he kills you, where every single part of it is that.
Fair.
Now,
Amazing.
There's an achievement. It's the soundtrack. They say it. It's the chapter. It's just hilarious and great.
Amazing. Uh, next up, Sam.
yeah, I'll go after Sam. Wait, I
You
am
do
after
go
Sam.
after Sam.
Wait a minute.
We're,
I'm like
we're
looking at the thing
going in
like
order, you fool.
going in order. Yeah, I am after Sam. My
Yeah, we're
brain.
going in Discord order, not in
Got it.
Alphabetical.
Power Wash order
Yeah, go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry for interrupting.
or Power Wash.
Oh, it's all good. Um, Me personally, I think the Dark Souls series offers a lot of lore. Like it's a good story. The mechanics are pretty outstanding. Its replayability is pretty huge, especially with mods. Like the
Oh,
amount of
big time.
mods that you can do on that is kind of insane. Um, it's something that I
If you don't mind me asking, what mods have you tried for the Dark Souls franchise, and which ones were your favorite?
so I think the item randomizer and then the additional classes with the more realistic was it like the skill caps and stuff where that way you
I have not tried that one.
it,
I
it
haven't tried the item randomizer either, but I've seen enough of it.
that one with like the skill capping and stuff and allowing you to build classes that have a better scaling in a sense like you can build towards a certain style of playing that made a lot more fun to play. Dark Souls
Very
3
nice.
particularly, sorry. Dark Souls 3 probably my favorite of the bunch so
I
far.
have to agree on that.
I've
What are your
heard
Yeah.
thoughts on Elden Ring?
I've heard nothing but good about Dark Souls 3.
And Elden Ring, same. I actually really enjoyed watching a streamer play doing a kind of like challenge where you kind of just become a glass cannon in Elden Ring. So you max out your all your magic and you just take some like incredibly powerful spell and you try to one shot your all the bosses. And that was honestly pretty entertaining to watch. I haven't played it yet, but seeing
Highly
seeing those
recommended, especially if you like Dark Souls 3.
yeah, I was gonna say like just seeing how other streamers went about playing it, whether they were super serious about it or super silly, like it seemed like a very well put together game.
A good game, good community.
Yeah.
Nice. So, three wildly different answers. What the hell did Jesus say again?
Fun brain.
Fun Brain.
Brain.
We had Fun Brain. We had Portal 2, Dark Souls 3. Javi, what do you say?
It's hard for me to narrow it down, at least at first glance, because I've also played a variety of different games. I think in terms of genres, the two that I enjoy the most would have to be like Metroidvanias, and I've also played a lot of looter shooters. I think actually, correction, three genres: looter shooters, Metroidvanias, and also roguelikes. Those ones
Mm,
have just always been like the most fun for me. Like for example, in terms of Metroidvanias, my favorite has always been Hollow Knight. I so much so that I own it on like three different platforms.
oh,
I
shit.
had it on Xbox for a while when I first played it. Then I got it on PC, and then just I have it on my Switch, so I could play it on the go. I could play it on my computer, regardless. I've tried it with a variety of different inputs, and it's a phenomenal game. The exploration is well paced. The art style is it fits the setting, and it feels simplistic but intricate in a way. The way that all the storytelling is told more through like events and the background rather than just being expressly told to you, and how so much mystery is still left there. It's fascinating to me. The music is great. The bosses are fun. Even some of the ones that are difficult, like I struggled a lot for the longest time on Nightmare King Grim, and when I remember finally beating it, and oh wow, it was it was some of the most like euphoric feelings I'd felt in ages. Just that feeling of victory after trying and trying and trying and failing constantly until finally just getting to the point where I could, like, I timed everything right, or I made the right moves at the right times, and it worked out, and it was an absolute blast.
On
Uh,
that note, can you remind me, is Hollow Knight listed as a Souls like?
I do believe it is a Souls-like.
Yeah, because what you
It is
described is
actually.
very
It's
much
an.
the
It's
same like
Yeah,
gameplay routine that you
and
experience
then
in Souls
yeah,
games.
and interestingly enough, like the comparison to Dark Souls earlier, it also has a lot of replayability to it. There's multiple different endings you can get just from playing out the game. You can either just go straight for the normal ending, or you can go for all the other side ones. There is an entire segment that you can do by when you beat every boss, where you have to go and fight all of them again in a row, and unlock an additional ending. Then there's Steel Soul, where you have to go through the entire game without dying once. There's just like so many different ways to play it, and also the plethora of mods that have been put into it as well. I haven't personally played with any of the mods, but I've seen quite a bit of gameplay with them, and it looks very fun. But I think the base game itself is more than enough for me. I very much enjoy it. I think it's very well made. And that's just Metroidvania is what I like in terms of like what I enjoyed the most. I think my current favorite roguelike is RoboQuest. It's still like early development, so not a lot to write home about. Although I will say the more recent updates have been pretty good. In terms of looter shooters, uh, Destiny 2, hands down, my favorite. Although that shouldn't really surprise anyone in this group. I've, especially Nick, I've talked to him about this game for about as long as I've known him. I think.
Yeah, no
Like,
shit.
I want to say I've talked to you about it as soon as I've known you.
It's almost like
So
your namesake is one of the characters in the
right? I mean,
game.
I love the game so much that yeah, one of the characters from that franchise is the namesake of my online username. And I am very I'm not gonna deny that. I'm okay with that. It's a fun little homage to a character I very much enjoyed. And I still play those
Eh,
games to this day, and I think the only game I can think of that doesn't really fit any of the genres I've mentioned that I've had a blast with would be Deep Rock Galactic.
mm-hmm.
That has just been so
I
fun. I think
love Deep Rock Galactic.
I'm
Oh,
actually
very fun.
I'm probably gonna get back into streaming again pretty soon. That's gonna be one of the games I stream for sure.
That is something I have to say is a game like that really succeeds by knowing their audience and knowing what
Yeah.
their audience wants.
Oh yeah, and I think that that Ghost Ship Games, the developers for Deep Rock, they 100% know their audience. That is, I think it makes it more phenomenal of a game since they know like who they're trying to like make their games for, and they're focused with that in mind. That's just a sign
Hell
of a good
yeah.
developer.
Also, I do want to point out another fun fact for anyone who doesn't know. The character in question, since you can't actually see Javi's Discord name, is Cayde 6, who
Yes,
is, of course, voiced by one of the most phenomenal voice actors and
Very
actors
prolific.
ever.
Fillion,
Very
yeah.
prolific, Nathan Fillion. I know him best from the series Firefly as Malcolm Reynolds.
I knew of him before ever getting into the Destiny franchise, because my mom would always watch this like one show, Castle.
There it
Oh, I
is.
was gonna bring up Castle.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
worry.
where I first knew about Nathan Fillion, and then like as growing up, then he was also Hermes in one of the Percy Jackson movies. An okay movie franchise, but I'll save that opinion for another day. Um, and then I know he also played Buck in the Halo franchise,
That's what I was gonna
and
tell Crème to say.
yeah, and
Yeah,
finally,
I was gonna say that actually almost got me to buy that game.
right? I think he
Just
was
because he was
probably
going to be in it.
yeah. Halo 5. I think Buck was a saving grace for that particular like
I
campaign.
fell out of Halo long before that point, but that
Yeah,
almost brought me back in.
it started dipping off around 4, I think. It's just really unfortunate. I think it was I've always been a diehard like Bungie fanboy. So back when Halo was run by Bungie, I think it was in its like prime. And now I think it's just kind of barely struggling to maintain a semblance of self anymore, which is kind of sad. I used
Very
to
sad.
love playing that like those games. I think Reach especially that was the first one I had ever picked up, I think. No, I
Reach,
picked up Combat Evolved and then ironically later on I played Reach and then eventually I ended up getting the Chief Collection and playing through every single one in a row, and
yeah.
it was a blast.
Reach was actually the first one I ever played. But
Really?
when I was in high school, uh, there's this thing where you could play Combat Evolved PvP on the library computers. Javi should know about this.
Oh no, yeah, those are fun.
Oh yeah,
I just
and that's
remember
actually
finishing up.
where I first met Heavy.
Oh, I didn't know about that actually.
Yeah, that Halo holds a special place in my heart because one, it's amazing. Two, it's red versus blue, and three, it's where I met one of my friends that I love almost like family.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So yeah, that,
Um,
that this was an
yeah,
awesome little segment on Javi's bit here
yeah, hell
that
yeah.
I really liked, and more wonderful answers. Samara, she's muted.
Ah, she might be muted.
Oh,
Okay,
there
sorry
she
about
is.
that.
There we go.
My cat was attacking me, so I didn't want to
Ah, okay.
bring
Not to
the cat.
mention
You-
Um,
another game to stall for time for you, but it's all good. Go ahead.
no, you good.
no, it's all good. So I will start out saying that so my I like a lot of different genres, but my I think my favorite and the one I really like, the niche I really go to is like RPGs. And so but if I were to say like it for me it's like a series because it's like you find that one series and it's like no matter what it always is a banger and you're like never disappointed, and that for me is the Persona series. So
Persona is
also many of
so
the Shin
Mhm.
good.
Megami fucking excuse my language, but I freaking love them. And one of but I think for me, and the reason I love it so much is because it's what got me in the series, and that's Persona 3 Portable. So I actually played that game when I was at Job Corps getting my CNA, and I used to hang out with a bunch of guys in the game room, and I was this tiny little itty bitty girl, and there was a lot of like drugs and people were doing not so great things. So they used to walk me home, and whenever I would hang out with them, to keep me away from like the bad stuff, they would, hand me one of them. Euphrates used to hand me his PSP and be like, "You really got to play this one game. I think you would love it." And I ended up just exploding and loving it so much. And so anyway, but so Persona 3 Portable is probably my like one of my all-time favorite games out of the Persona series. Now I love every single one of them, and I love the Shin Megami Tensei games. I have such a like fondness for them. But if you were to hold a gun to my head and tell me that there is only one game I'd be allowed to play for the rest of my life, no ifs, ands, or buts, it would probably be Earth. And the reason it's one of my favorites is because it covers everything. The music is great, the characters are great, the humor is great.
And this
And this
is
game
what game?
also came out, yeah, this game came out actually, so it's around the same age as me. So it came out in June of 1995, and I was born in June of 1995. So,
Oh crap.
sorry, I forgot. I can't talk
So
about my age.
I do believe we can. The chat cannot.
Yeah, like I said, I'm fairly certain streamer can, chat cannot. Although
Okay, that
specific
makes me
ages
feel better.
that we probably should have, like specific like dates we probably should avoid,
Yeah,
just for like your safety.
That's fair
Yeah,
enough.
fair enough.
So,
come get me.
and this
I'll
was,
fight. No, I'm
Oh
kidding.
no,
this
trust me,
was,
I am
this
like the
is,
least afraid person of doxing because what are you gonna do? But
Right. No,
Jokes
no,
on
it's all
you.
good.
I
So
have a
yeah.
VPN.
Well, anyway,
joke's
so
on you, I
Earthbound,
don't.
Ah,
so
and
going back, so like it's one of my favorite games, and it's one of the games that got me really into game design. And so I was so excited because I have a
What
Nintendo
is this
Switch.
ladder doing
I
problems?
was so excited when I found out that they were finally finally gonna pay homage to it, and they put it on the NES library. So I have now played it 3 times and beaten it every single time. And it's one of those games where I can just sit down, have a glass of wine, and just like play. And it's just like the most soothing game. And then there is one other game I will say, just because like we all talked about the games that like really like made an impact. The other game I will say that is like going to be like another game that I would play for the rest of my life and I'd be okay with playing it. It would probably be Dragon Age Origins, because it was the first game I ever played with my stepdad.
Hmm.
So
That's
yeah, and he
very
actually
sweet.
was the one who got me into BioWare and ended up getting me into Mass Effect, which is another series I really like. But yeah, I like a lot of RPGs now. I still play like shooters and stuff like that. But I don't know. I love story-driven games because it's like it's like reading a book, but it's playing out in front of you, but you get to control it. I don't know. It's that feeling, and the characters are good. And but I mean, it's always like it's your point of view. You may like RPGs and you may not, but
Yeah.
that's just me. Also, I'm a weeb, so I don't care.
I,
But
here's the
yeah,
thing.
so I
You're not
would
the
say
only one in
those.
this chat. I can guarantee you.
Oh, I mean, y'all have already seen all the pictures I
I
post.
think the only one that
Also,
we maybe have to question about that would be Sam, because I don't know Sam that well.
No, he's a hardcore weeb.
okay,
Me and
Okay,
him
so
met
Okay,
because
good.
of
literally
League
Then
of
we're
everyone
all
here
in
Legends.
is a weeb.
agreement. Anime good.
yeah. Also, I will post later for y'all in our Discord chat of the character I just finished. Also, just side note, I'm making a game, so there's I will talk a lot about drawing and
Yes,
stuff and
Oh yeah.
some of us are actually
animating it.
helping her with that, which is awesome. I'm excited.
Yes, yes. If you guys want
The
to
Oh yeah.
contribute,
Actually,
please.
we that's something we should have brought up in the when we were bringing ourselves up. Is we should have discussed what each of our like, you know, because we all have some form of direct connection with different aspects of gaming.
Yes, we'll get into that actually. Right now, we're starting off with what games we tend to like the best because should help give an insight into what games we like the best and
yeah.
what
Mm.
we'll generally be talking about, what we look forward
Also, everyone needs
to
to
in a
play
game.
Fire Emblem. That's all the other thing. The
Oh,
only other
Fire
thing
Emblem's
I will
also
say.
really
Everyone
good.
needs to play
Oh
Fire
yeah, I love Fire
Also,
Emblem.
Emblem.
I feel like Nick, you're probably gonna bring this one up regardless anyway. So I'm gonna bring it up now. In terms of another genre, I think a lot of us here might enjoy. In the horror genre specifically.
Ah
Yes.
yes,
Yeah,
Corpse Party.
I was about
Corpse
to bring up Dead
Party.
by Daylight.
Yeah.
Dead by Daylight's a good one, but
It is
if we're
so
gonna talk
fun.
indie horror, I will talk Corpse Party because I
Oh
want
yeah.
that series to come back so hard. I know it's so gross at times, but like the body horror and the gore and everything, and like the characters, some of them are just literally meant to be red shirts, and you know it, and it's like I'm okay with that. But like I don't know, like it's one of those series like I really want to see it come back, but
Oh yeah.
we probably will never see it come back.
And there's also like games like SCP Containment Breach. There's
Yep.
Phasmophobia. There's just a plethora of good horror games out there.
oh yeah,
On the note of
Phasmophobia
horror
was
games
fun.
and indie horror games, may I bring up a type of game that I feel gets overlooked a fair bit?
Sure.
Um,
I don't see a
that
problem.
I
Yeah.
have a very strong attachment to. That would be visual novels for
Yes.
a video
Yes,
game.
when
So
they
far,
cry.
There's only one I think that
one
Nick
of my
might
Because
not
a
be comfortable with.
classic one that
yeah,
covers the indie horror and visual novel department,
yeah.
Doki Doki. Everybody knows it.
Yes, that's the
Mm-hmm.
one that Javi was
Uh,
talking about.
No, I was talking
my
How
about a
big
about
game
when
one
they
though
cry?
on
I'm talking about the one that
I
you
don't
got
know
really
that one as
uncomfortable
much
with. You don't want to
personally,
play anymore.
but
Oh
I would like
no,
to bring up
please
one that I
don't.
have
I'm
not
not going to say its
actually.
name so people don't realize what it is.
I would like to go through. I would like to bring up one that I have not actually fully played myself, but I really need to get around to it. But it actually had an anime derived from it, which is how I found out about it.
Oh,
And that anime, and obviously because of that, the visual novel heavily influenced my life. Steins Gate,
oh,
Yes.
Mm.
yeah,
which is a time travel and has horror aspects to it visual
the
I've
novel,
seen.
and
Gundren.
it also ties into what Samarra was saying about games with heavy like plot and story importance, because that's
Yeah,
pretty much all a
It's really
visual
good.
novel is.
Yes.
I will say if you're a fan of Steins Gate, I would definitely recommend. There's two. There might be more. I don't know, but I would definitely recommend When They Cry. It's basically horror and murder mystery mixed together, and it's very 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 good. And if you like story based games, the one I definitely recommend would be probably, I would say, Higurashi is the best one to start with, because it's like this weird little village and they all like worship a creepy mysterious god. And the anime, let me just tell you, the anime holds nothing back, and that's all I'm going to say. And there's some pretty like gruesome scenes, and anybody who's listening to this who's nodding at their computer, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about, or certain scenes.
I know what you're talking
um
about.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And there was a couple of times when I watched the anime, I was like, oh, I gotta stop. Time for a palate cleanser. But and then another one I would definitely recommend if you like horror and like that kind of indie feel is Madoka Magica is a good one. For some horror.
Shock.
I have
Yeah.
a visual novel I would like to bring up that actually I believe was my first, which is very amusing that this is my first. But I'm gonna post it in the Discord because I do not want to say its title out loud because it is a mature visual novel.
It's one of those.
I see.
I'm curious. I think I know which one it's gonna be.
I haven't played that one.
I have
So
not.
this
one?
actually was if I recall, was my first exposure to visual novels, and it actually directly influenced my love of visual novels, and was the source
Also
of
in the
my
chat,
first
still
ever
mine.
waifu, actually,
Huh.
or at least my first like one that stuck with me really strong.
I'm gonna spill mine as well in the Discord. I don't think this will surprise Nick. It probably shouldn't.
Let me look it up.
Nope, that one doesn't
Ah,
surprise me
yeah,
at
that
all.
doesn't surprise me at all.
Ooh, really?
Like everyone
Jinx.
I know, it doesn't surprise.
That's
Yep.
honestly
I mean,
like
that's a
Cade.
very
I don't really
popular
know you
one, to
that
be
well.
fair.
I don't really know you that well, but I can see that. I can see that. Like I could
Yeah,
kind
that
of
is
get the idea
definitely
of
the
why
type
you
of
like
thing that
that.
makes
I'm a
sense.
man of specific tastes, you know.
Meow.
I mean, you have to have very specific taste for that one. I mean, but I can't judge because okay, so y'all gotta promise not to laugh at me, okay?
I ain't gonna.
So
I don't judge.
no. You gotta promise not to laugh at me.
Thing.
So
I guarantee you.
I
I am never gonna judge. You have
okay,
to worry about
you
that regard.
swear.
I can
You
swear on it.
swear. Okay. So um so I will say this. There is I also too like visual novels. And lately I've been getting back into like the sim dating thing because it's better than real life himbos and bimbos. And
Oh,
you know,
Megan.
and honestly, yeah, like it just but anyway, the point is like it's fun because like I can turn it off and separate myself. When you're in a relationship, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So but one of my favorites is the like the very first one I played, and it was mostly because it was a joke. Does anybody know about Hatful Boyfriend?
Oh, the pigeon, the bird dating sim.
Gross.
Yes.
That
I
I
Isn't there
actually haven't
also
heard
a
about.
horse? Isn't
I am
there also a
unfamiliar with
horse
that
one?
one.
Yes. I think that one's specifically called My Horse Prince or something.
No, I think it's just like, yeah, it's either My Horse Prince or My Horse Boyfriend. I think that one's a mobile game, but that's besides the
It
point.
is.
Oh, so I want to just tell the short story of how I played Hatful Boyfriend. And so first of all, it was a joke because and that's how they always say it was a joke.
It always
But
starts
so
that
I
way.
was in
Starts
It
that way.
always starts that way. And if anything, I just got so into like how stupid this game was because you're dating birds. As I was like, okay, I want to play more games like this, where it's not like specifically you're dating animals, but like I want to play more games where it's like you don't have to take things seriously.
You
Now,
want to play
so
more
I got
dating
into
sims because you're lonely.
yeah. So I got into like
Yeah.
really like and it also helped me kind of like come out of my shell and figure out myself, my alignment, so to speak. And so I will say that, like, I did play a lot, and it kind of helped me feel a little more comfortable with myself on that aspect. But I think honestly, like, Hatful Boyfriend is one of those games. Like, would I ever play it again? No. but it's like one of those fond memories where it's like I literally remember booting up my computer because my parents were like had gone to Disney World with my siblings that summer, and I'm gonna totally out myself here and hope to God my siblings don't listen to this. But yeah, so I totally booted up the computer while my family was gone and was like, I'm gonna play this really dumb bird dating simulator and pray to God nobody in my family finds out. So 10 years later, now they know. But yeah, so
Also,
so
I just looked it up because I was curious. Or I just found out. So I was digging through some stuff. And it has come to my attention that sea shanties are public domain.
Wow.
wow.
That
Awesome.
is
I
amazing.
I would
Okay, so we can
I
see
would
see
quickly
chance.
like I would quickly like to address something that actually I've been meaning to say, which is um, something that really is a mark of a good game is emotional connection. And
Mm,
Yes.
the
yes.
Oh,
game I brought up,
absolutely.
the game I brought up in our Discord here, genuinely made me cry multiple times because it gives a very good emotional connection to each of the characters, including the protagonist, even though, like in most visual novels, especially dating sims, they are a, mostly faceless entity that you're meant to, kind of put yourself in their shoes. But you still have an emotional attachment even to that character. And you feel their sorrow and the sorrow of others. And that that is another reason I really liked visual novels. Is it showed me how much emotion you can derive from a game, even when it doesn't have a lot of
Absolutely.
the features other people think of when they think of a video game, especially one that's emotional.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say this, and this is what I tell people all the time. Video games are for everybody. Like there is some really weird games out there. Like I can give you a couple that I would be ashamed to say that I played, but I have. And you
Fortnite.
know, Senran Kagura.
I was
And
Oh,
I was
the,
gonna
yeah.
say you saw the one I posted. I won't
listen,
say the name
listen.
just in case. But
I totally
if you know,
played
you
Dead
know.
or Alive, not for the movie mechanics. Yeah, definitely
Go.
played
I'm
Dead or
gonna say
Alive,
really
I'm
quick.
not
not
I
for the
don't
movie
judge,
gonna
and
mechanics.
that's some taste you got.
I'm not gonna say my
Hey.
game, but I
The
will
dessert
describe it in a
ones.
way that those who know will know. It is
Sadako,
about
the dessert
crippled
ones.
girls, and it is very much a what I will call niche experience. So
Oh no.
I definitely am not free of the damn.
Yeah.
You really played
We've
this?
all got games that we're ashamed that we've all played that we were a bit ashamed that we've played. Uh,
So I will have.
but yeah.
We'll say this game. The one game I will say the one game never like. I may admit to it, but I may not. Is that one Dead or Alive game where you literally there's no fighting, but they play volleyball.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
don't
know.
get much talking.
I know exactly where you're going with that one. Also,
That's all I'm
again,
gonna
not
say.
bad taste. Not bad taste.
No, no, no.
So,
But it's like you didn't.
ending
None of
off
that like scares
the
fucking.
what games we love segment, I would like to finally speak.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So,
No.
The man of the hour.
screw you. So, on first thought, the first thing that comes to mind would be World of Warcraft, since it's literally what got me into story writing in the first place. And the world and a lot of the characters stuck with me, especially Sourfang. And it's also a game genre that I absolutely love, our MMORPG. It was quite literally the first MMORPG I ever played, and I bonded a lot with my uncle over it. But it's actually, I wouldn't consider it my favorite. Mostly because MMORPGs are kind of slow and honestly a little bit boring to be playing forever and ever. But
Some people are not for the grind, and that's totally okay.
I'm not for the grind. I'll be in it for the story quests and stuff and running dungeons with friends. Like Powerwash Sim, I'm never gonna play this on my own ever again. But
Yeah.
unless I'm trying to level up.
I will.
Uh,
I think
On that note,
knowing
real
Oh,
quick,
we
me.
sorry
learned
to
how to.
sidebar. We did just finish the job. Should I start up a new one?
yes.
Knowing myself, I would probably play Power Wash on my own just for because my OCD. I'd very much enjoy the whole the cleaning of all that kind of stuff and getting every single little
Hell
bit
yeah.
is very satisfying to my OCD.
So for
Mm.
me, I think my answer though would be I thought you hated this one.
it's a big one. We need ones that will take time, and we're not far enough to have access to other ones.
Fair enough. For me, though, this the next one I'm going to name, it's purely because it brings me back to those happy times as a kid where school wasn't such a horrible place. Or, I
Impossible.
can sit in class. Once I'm done with my homework, I just hop on one of those classroom computers and just boot up this game and start playing. And this game really brings me back to that. And it's actually not just one game, it's a collection of games that's been released on Steam not too long ago. But I just remember so fondly going on that game, booting up, escape the jail or escape the prison, and just following
Uh,
the short story of Henry Stickmin.
Henry Stickmin.
I the
Oh
first
my
game
god,
I
you're really taking us
I've been
back
meaning
here.
to buy the collection.
so have I.
I think I'm gonna be buying the collection soon because the
I
Henry Stickmin games are just so fun. Like it's a fun storyline. It's goofy. It's got some serious moments. It
yeah,
knows the target audience. It's got a lot of references.
Puffballs
It's just a blast.
is amazing, and I that Escape the Prison was the first one I ever played, and I tried to get my little cousin into it, but my mom was like, "No, I don't want my daughter to be playing criminal games where you're playing a criminal." I'm like, okay,"
I think it
but
was
and I can completely understand that thought process, but it was just such an experience playing through that game as like a 7-year old, watching these goofy, funny things happen and watching Henry fail and die in the stupidest ways possible with video game references. And the video game references only got cooler as the games went on. One of my personal favorites being the Halo bubble shield in Fleeing the Complex. And in that
complex
one,
where he's like in the bubble shield and they're trying to shoot at him, but
yeah,
he's trying to like poke his head out and he can't leave because he's just there.
yeah. And the other options in that one,
Oh,
I absolutely love. The other that one's a failure because you're trapped inside the bubble shield. But the other option isn't a video game reference. It's a would you consider this an anime or a cartoon? I'm going to consider it a cartoon. It's an Avatar reference where he becomes an
it's a
earthbender.
Avatar,
fantasy.
Avatar, due to technicality, is a cartoon.
Dude,
I-
yeah,
I was
due to
gonna
Fair
say
yeah,
enough.
it's technically animation. It's not
Yes,
anime,
it
but
is.
it's not
It is a
cartoon. It would
form
be
of
seen as
animation.
animation.
Yeah,
yeah. I would
Yeah,
say
that's what
Yes.
I would say.
it would
Fair enough.
technically be a cartoon, but it's
I
a
would say
really
it's an
good one.
anime-inspired animation.
There you go.
Yes,
Yeah,
Then
you
yeah.
would want Mark
it's a
So
Hamill to
yeah,
very
be
he
and it's a very good one at that.
in a freaking anime.
but what happens is Henry suddenly becomes an earthbender right then and there, and he brings up
That's
a stone wall to deflect bullets. And then he launch. This one's actually going to have a video game reference in here too. He launches some rocks out, and then he gets hit by a rock and notices that some of the complex guards are also earthbenders. He gets in a short brawl with them, gets hit in the face, and it plays the GTA Wasted death animation.
I remember that one.
Love
And
I
that.
remember seeing that and just like, whoa, two references in one.
hell
Oh yeah, the
yeah.
combo references are always
Uh,
gold.
It's
Oh
always
yeah.
funny.
And do you remember what the winning option is?
I think I do. The winning option, when I think it was you. Okay, it depends on which version. You are. I think it was Flash on that specific one.
Yes.
Oh,
At the
rest in peace to the Flash browser, man.
Not Flash Adobe, League of Legends
Oh,
spell summoner spell Flash. At the time when League of Legends wasn't a toxic irradiated hole uh, of what is that called, nuclear energy that doesn't
It's very
provide anything for the environment except kill it. I actually loved League of Legends. It was again one of the first games I ever got into, but it didn't impact me anywhere near as hard as World of Warcraft did. And the winning
well,
option is Flash, and it's the summoner spell. You just outside.
yeah.
I find it funny
And
that some of the games you've talked about loving and influencing you very early are games I refuse to touch with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I still
I mean,
don't
to be fair,
really
it was
understand that,
also
but
like
whatever.
early on when it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, this
Well,
was
it's
early
also
League,
amusing because he mentions WoW, and WoW is a game I've never touched and probably never will.
and I don't really care whether you do or not. WoW is its own thing. Old WoW was a gem. New WoW is kind of boring. But I still love the soul of what the game was and the world in general.
Yeah.
This one's a lot of just story with what makes me love WoW. Specifically, my absolute most favorite character being the Lich King, Arthas Menethil.
Ooh.
I don't know why. I just loved the whole. I like necromancy in stories where there's undead, and I like redemption arcs. And though his redemption wasn't exactly redemption, I'm going to tell the story of Arthas. Arthas was a young noble within a city. I don't remember a lot of the names of towns and other characters, so that makes me sad. But he was a young noble within during the time where the scourge was rampaging across the not the scourge the legion was rampaging across Azeroth, and this was during the Burning Crusade update with the MMORPG, but was lore stuff that was already happening within Warcraft 2, I believe, where Arthas became so obsessed with killing demons that he just abandoned his paladin oaths, basically, and started going down a very dark path of necromancy and ended up becoming a Death Knight for, you guessed it, Gul'dan, who was one of the ones that actually brought the Legion to Azeroth in the first place, but had his soul. He tried to betray the demon he was working for, and he had his soul trapped inside of a helmet. And from there on, he started conjuring and controlling undead, being known as the Scourge. And Arthas became almost immaculated by him. Uh, Not quite possessed, but more a devout follower of Gul'dan, who he didn't know actually was the one who brought the Legion to Azeroth in the first place. This it wasn't Gul'dan's. Was it? I think it was Gul'dan's soul that got trapped in the helmet. I'm misremembering a lot of things. I don't think it was Gul'dan's soul, but there was a soul of an orc warlock who was trapped in there. That's why I'm thinking Gul'dan. If I am Gul'dan, I hope I'm right. But he was talking to Arthas from where he was, sitting in his frozen throne up in Icecrown, and Arthas had already put on the edgy full plate of the Death Knight armor that he wears now before he died. And he had already taken this cursed sword known as Frostmourne, which, upon drawing it Excalibur style, had actually taken the soul of his friend who went with him and ended up killing his friend. So Arthas ventured on, trying to kill the Legion. Came across blades with Illidan a few times. Came face to face with more demon lords and overpowered them, or got overpowered and retreated, until he eventually went up to Ice Crown, went up to the helmet, the crown, plunged his blade into the ice that it was trapped in, ripped it out, and put it on, merging his soul with Gul'dan. And now it was effectively two minds now completely joined as one. And both are now the Lich King controlling the Scourge, and that became its own threat with Wrath of the Lich King. But I loved Arthas so much, mostly because edgy, badass necromancer guy with big sword and heavy armor. But after I actually understood the story, it just made me like him even more.
I
Jesus, you just almost
like I
like you were
said,
spazzing out there.
not a WoW guy, but I do love undead and liches. So
Yeah, and
if my whole
Arthas,
"I am dead" thing didn't make enough of a stand, everybody, I like undead. I am undead.
hell yeah, and Arthas was living for most of his story, and then I think sometime after he got Frostmourne, he he died, and the necromantic powers in Frostmourne kept him alive. Specifically, Gul'dan trying to not lose his champion, and so he risen
Okay.
as a lich.
Can I briefly bring up and discuss a character from a game I have not played that you made me think about with some of the
Yes,
stuff you were bringing up?
please.
So on the note of legendary swords and whatnot, I would like to bring up a character who is known for his sword and his motivation, Virgil.
Yes,
I have
Devil
not
May
played
Cry.
any of the Devil May Cry series,
Never played
but I
Devil
do
May Cry.
know
Get
of
out of this
Virgil
chat.
I
and
have
his
played
motivation
DMC
for more
before.
power.
Holy shit!
I
Pardon
So
the language.
Get out.
the only reason
DMC3 is like one of my favorite games. I will die on
the
that
Then
hill.
I grant the floor to those with more experience. Please, just gush over
No,
Virgil for me, will you?
okay, so let me tell you about my poor little emo boy that needs to just get laid or
More
a
power.
shampoo. I don't know. No, he needs shampoo. That's what he needs. He needs a good cleansing.
You say that, but
Um,
like he
He needs
just
to get
slicks his
laid.
hair back, bro.
he does need to get laid. He okay. Look, so I will say this: DMC.
Nah,
So
he's me.
D, I guess in a way, that's your interpretation. Um,
I could.
I
I
mean,
need more
all I'm gonna
power.
say, you need something
He
else that
needs more
starts with a
power
P,
so
and
he
I'm
can
not
get
gonna say
laid.
it right here.
If you want it, you'll have to take it.
Like I said, you gonna need something else that starts with a P, and I'm gonna need you to. I'm not gonna say it on the chat. But anyway, I will say this: DMC3 is like. So I love Devil May Cry. I've played every single one of the games. I have cried over every single one of the games. I have screamed. I have thrown things. There's certain bosses that I don't like talking about. But I will say, out of all the games, and this includes five, which five was a good game. I will say this now: five was a good game. A lot of people didn't like it. I personally thought it was okay.
See, when I
Now,
played
if
it,
you
it
were to,
wasn't that bad.
it wasn't. It's not half bad. It really isn't. Like there's some mechanics in it that I thought was kind of made it too easy. But I mean, it's still a fun game. And if you've never played DMC3, or if you've never played DMC, I want to talk about that. But if you've never played Devil May Cry, it's a good game to play. It's not a bad game. Now, the game I tell people that if you want to play if you really want to get into the Devil May Cry series, you got to play three because three actually happens before any of the other games, so it makes the most sense to play that game first. And it also I feel like has the best characters. Personally, I think Nero's kind of annoying. I wanted to slap him a couple of times, tell him that he needs to deal with his daddy issues, and not whine about his arm being ripped off. But whatever. Um, but the
It's
point
past your
is that like
bedtime.
yeah, it's past your bedtime, kid. Like go to sleep. And so yeah, but like I love DMC3. I love Devil May Cry 3. I will never talk about the remake. The remake does not exist. I was terrible. I did not like it. The gameplay was fun. There's nothing wrong with the gameplay. I just did not like the character. I did not like the story. The gameplay was cool. That's about it. That's all I can say. Everything else was bad. But I will say, so Virgil, because we're talking about people with really cool swords. Virgil is, I think, the pinnacle of the reason why DMC3 is one of my favorite games because, I mean, first of all, you got two emo brothers fighting each other who are also half demon, like, of course, and this is like 2000 and I don't know, somebody Google
Maximum
it, but
edge lord.
exactly, it was maximum edgelord energy we had here. Okay, we had like just honestly, all of 2000s was nothing but edgelord central. You had Trigun, you had freaking what was it called, Helsing. You had just everything was like edgelord. Just but anyway, so yeah, so Devil May Cry fit in perfectly in there. Um, but I will say so. Virgil in himself is the king of the edgelords. He wants to be king of the demons. Now you can be king of the edgelords because he has that. And I will say, like, even playing it now on my Switch, I still have a love hate relationship with Virgil because I think he's a great character. I think he's really compelling. And later in Devil May Cry 5, it's not good. If you haven't played the game, I'm not going to spoil anything. But things happen. And yeah, and all I'll say is that Virgil's a pretty cool character. And I don't really appreciate people when they get on and just like crap on him all the time. And I'm just like, if you if you play the game and you understand the fact that he's just plain evil. No, you cannot fix him. He's a good character. He does like I don't want more characters where it's like, yeah, they just needed love. Like no, no, Virgil's just straight up a jerk, and he
I
literally stabs his brother multiple times
so
and tries to kill him.
Mm,
No, he does that
so
in love.
So I haven't played the game, but one thing I do know about him, and this is something I respect about this character in its design, is he is driven by a goal. He has one goal, and it is what
Exactly.
drives all of his actions throughout all of the games. And it is a simple goal. He wants more power. That is the only thing he has ever cared about. Not
Say,
his
Oh my
family,
it's
god, do you know
also
not
what I
his
just realized?
not his son, not his brother. He wants
no, yeah.
power.
It's also really fun to have a
Way to
villain
ruin the
who's
thing!
evil for the fun of it. You know?
We just
Yep.
spoiled DMC5, just saying right now. We just
I would
spoiled. I'm trying
say
not to spoil it, but it's out there in the universe. But yeah, I mean, so like for
Also,
instance,
guys,
I do
Sam had to go,
what
Ah,
so we're
damn.
down a
Oh,
guy.
hasta la vista.
I wish I could have
Baby.
said goodbye.
Oh, he's actually still in chat.
Yeah.
He left the game, so we can say bye.
Oh,
Creme,
Goodbye,
okay,
Sam. It was a pleasure
goodbye.
having you.
Bye, Sam.
peace out, Samson. I'll see you
I only
tomorrow at
met you
work.
for like
Well,
5 minutes. It's
Good
very
night, guys.
random.
pleasant dreams,
very
Sorry, I
sweet
have to
prince.
go.
Nah, you good,
It's
you
all good.
good. We all understand.
All
So,
good.
uh,
alright.
since we've discussed a lot of that, I think we should move on to generally, like what Creme said earlier. What games do we tend to play most?
Ah,
When I was saying that, I wasn't saying what games. I meant
Yeah, what genre?
like what you and I had talked about, like what aspects
I
of gaming we are like into
I am
mostly.
Okay, then yeah, what aspects? So, okay, so what aspects of games are you into most? This
I
can
have
include genre, this can include the storytelling, the pacing, if there's story at all, characters, whatever. Just what about games stands out to you the most? So let's start out with Jebus.
to bring mental things there to
Go ahead and stop streaming though, so you're not glitching out on
Second,
us.
your audio keeps cutting out a bit.
uh,
So, yeah, stop Discord streaming. We're already streaming on Twitch.
I will stream for the others since my internet can probably handle it.
It's fine. I'm currently working on some other stuff while I'm doing this. So, and
Too
uh,
bad.
I can
We'll have
also look at
a
it
side stream.
through. I can also look at
We'll
it through
have
the
a
actual
side
thing.
stream.
so what was the question again?
What aspects
Game.
of video games do you look for? What stand out to you the most? What do you like best? And this can include genre, gameplay, story, characters, or any lack thereof,
Um,
pacing.
I love I love games that bring in like elements that like this is a very effective against this, and then you're able to kill more things with it. You know,
Like with
like those games.
Pokemon.
Countering system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
love
basically, the
countering.
strategy.
I love them.
Pokemon
So
is
you
so
like
Okay,
the
so you're a
strategy.
strategy gamer.
Especially Pokemon. It's so simple but so like complex.
Well, the
Oh,
first
we're
one
all
that
Okay, now
starting
would you say
actually
it is would you say that you like strategy or you like tactics because they are different?
All
I
of
It's a
them,
mix of
they
both.
have all of it.
technically, so I think
Pokemon
it's
does have a
actually
little bit of both.
technically I think it's actually there's actually a type of word they have for that kind of tactic game. And it's called match type or type matchups or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
type
And it's
matchups.
basically whenever you have an opposing force versus an opposing, like they do it in Persona, they do it in Pokemon, they do it in a lot of different
I mean, the
RPGs.
simplest
This
example is
effect
rock
has
paper
been
scissors.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yes.
Fire Emblem even does it. Hey, yo, you
I
can go
know.
play Fire
I
Because
Emblem.
wanted to
it
Yeah.
play
boils
Fire
down to
Emblem because
rock
they do
paper
that.
scissors.
I
Everyone should
love.
play Fire Emblem.
Yeah, that explains like most games. Like I love Destiny. You were talking about Destiny. I love like all
Hell
the
yeah.
types of elements that were on it in it and stuff. I was ashamed that there's like okay like this like fire is good against like the fire guys. You know.
Yeah, well, basically, I would say Destiny's type matchup is a bit different than other ones in the sense that
Yeah.
when it comes to you want to attack a shield with the same element it is composed of.
Yeah.
So
Ah.
it's less of uh
It's
deal
less
like
what's weak against what and more
and more match to
overcharge
color.
in that.
Yeah. Match
Yeah,
color.
which considering it's meant to be a looter shooter, I think that's a good thing because then it would be more complex to remember like what is what just on the fly, and it's easier to
Mm-hmm.
remember. Oh, just pick the thing that matches.
Yeah. I think I love memorizing. I can memorize all the Pokemon types. I love when games that have me memorize everything.
Yeah, it's honestly pretty fun.
Yeah.
Even then though, like I would say Destiny of itself has other things important for memorizing, especially like in the raids where you
Mhm.
need to know certain mechanics in order for things to go well. One thing I think that would be hilarious to try to do, if we can get enough people for it, is try to do a raid with all of us trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Oh my god.
That would be so fun. I'd probably be the one walking you through the raids I've done. Um, since I know at least a couple of the mechanics. I think I know Deepstone Crypt pretty well. I know what was the other ones that I've done? I know Deepstone Crypt. I know Vaults of Glass. The ones I have a harder time with is like Last Wish and the newest one. What was that one called?
I
I think it
still
was
haven't
Vow
even
of the
done the new
Disciple.
one.
Yeah, Vow. I haven't done Vow either. I've
And
seen
it's
bits of it, but I like
yeah.
I know very little about it. The two that I could actually probably reasonably like help you guys through would for sure be Deepstone Crypt, since I've done it enough times to know what the different mechanics are, and Vault of Glass, since I've also done it enough times to know how the mechanics are.
Yeah, I
I
love
mean,
yeah.
I've done those two and Last Wish plenty.
And it's so funny. I can memorize a bunch of elements that are really good against that, or different tactics of defeating bosses, but I can't remember their names.
All right, bro. Make a
I know
game
all their
where you
weaknesses and
have to
stuff.
memorize every element in the periodic table.
Oh my god, that's
Amazing.
that would be
If
amazing.
it's meant to like actually serve a purpose in the game, like
It
certain
serves a
element is stronger
purpose
than
in the
another,
video game.
then
Make a
that
game
would
where it
I
serves a purpose that
guarantee
you
you
know every element in the periodic table.
I guarantee you Jebus would be just a god at that game probably. He would memorize it all and suddenly just be
We're gonna make you into a professional chemist by making this video game.
literally like make him a
Ah,
professional chemist through a video game of all things.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Here's the thing:
that's
I can
amazing.
even think of a game that you could do it. You could do something like Full Metal Alchemist, where that's
Hey,
part of the
yeah, like Full
premise.
Metal Alchemist would be pretty cool.
A Full Metal Alchemist game. That sounds
A Full Metal
boring.
Alchemist game where you actually
Yes.
have to know the chemical makeup of everything you're transmuting.
Oh, that sounds like a
Oh
terrible
my
game.
god,
I
I
would love to
would
play it.
die.
Um,
Jeebus, that sounds awful. I would absolutely play it.
That sounds awful. I love it.
Hey
It's
guys,
like a gay person
who
describing
wants
their
to watch
wardrobe.
Nana Tucker turn into a fucking dog, a freaking dog all over again?
Oh no,
no.
Edward.
Edward
Big Ed
friend.
play.
Oh
Uh,
no.
Oh, I love watching
I hope
sad
Chad
anime.
is enjoying this this
I don't think
I'm
dynamic
we
we're
terribly
have
going
sorry,
any.
Chad.
on.
I'm terribly sorry.
I'm
I
destroying
would be,
Chad,
all
but I lost my
every
ability
shits
to
in
feel
here.
remorse for you all years ago. I know what types of things Chad is
Uh,
typically into.
Chad, if you want to be
I
happy,
know
watch
what
of
you
all
did.
of Violet Evergarden, all its series and stuff, movies.
Okay.
I'm
Chad,
That's
Oh
the
man.
equivalent
you're
of
gonna
saying,
be
yeah, if
obsessed
you want
for
to
a
be
month.
happy, go hug a cactus.
I just enjoy watching
If you
people
want
be in
some
pain.
comfort, go
If
hug a
you want to
cactus.
be happy, go hug a cactus. Crème 2022.
I'm going to turn
If
that
you
into a quote.
I want to put that on a
turn it
t-shirt.
into a
So
shirt.
If you
Turn it
want
with
to
into
I
be
a
literally
shirt.
just
happy,
said,
go
yeah.
hug a
I want to put
cactus.
that on a t-shirt.
so
Uh,
Oh,
No,
God.
with
no, you need to turn it
Jesus,
into a motivational poster.
he
It's
likes
just a
memorizing.
skeleton wrapped around a cactus.
So with Creme, he likes memorizing and stuff.
no, it's Jeebus that
Creme?
likes
I mean,
memorizing.
That's
I
not
love
Jeebus.
Jeebus.
memorizing.
Jeebus
Jesus.
likes memorization.
Jeebus, Mr. Jeebus,
Crème
man.
likes a lot of story.
I
Yes,
like
Creme?
story. Something. Are we going to me?
Yes, we're going to you, Creme.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So I do like a lot of story. Story is very good, but something I also love and wish more games had is character customization and
Oh
gear
my god,
customization.
Mm,
yes.
I love the ability to customize my things. I
I
never
want
get
to
to
make
do it
the
in real life
most
enough,
worst
but
human being in the world.
I'm a tinkerer and a personalizer. I like things to have
Okay,
a unique feel that I have directly influenced.
Okay.
okay, I'm
Everyone
gonna
I've
play devil's advocate
yeah.
here. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Okay, as somebody who is working on a game right now, do you have any idea how much coding goes into making a character customization template?
Oh,
I
Like,
I am
I
well
am
aware,
writing
and
code
that's why I
I
special.
for just
yeah.
having
That's
a
why
character be either a male or a female.
No, yeah.
Like, it's
I
like,
I
oh,
completely
I,
understand how difficult it can be to have an engine like that, which is why whenever there is very very intricate character customization, I have a greater appreciation for it. Because
to be
I know that's
so
hard to do.
you like the Bioware games then?
Eh. Honestly,
Oh, what?
here's the thing. The character customization doesn't have to be intricate in terms of like the body type that you've got
The
and all that
number of
stuff.
sliders.
Yeah, number of sliders doesn't automatically equal great character customization. I think
Just
having
look at
option,
Cyberpunk there for a second.
yeah, like I
Okay.
think like just the sheer quantity of options for customization, I think is what makes it feel nicer. Like you have more control over how your character is. Like I'm gonna use Deep Rock Galactic as an example because I think the customization in terms of like the cosmetics for the guns and the armor and everything feels very nice. Like you have provided you have to unlock a lot of the stuff, but it makes it feel like everything you've gotten was worked towards. You know, like or like you earned it in a way. And it feels nice to have finally finished your look and be satisfied with it and to look at it all and after seeing how much time and effort that has gone into that, feel satisfied with the look you have created. You know? I think
I mean, that's
I
fair.
I
it's the
will
investment.
clarify. I did say character customization, but I also moved it to the broader subject of just customization in general. Because, yes, I do
Also
understand
true.
just how hard it can be to program those things, as I have attempted to make games before. But I mean just customization in general. A prime example of a game that I really enjoyed some customization in, where you could not change the character: Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
No.
You could not
Yes.
change your character. You could change your outfit, but the thing that I really liked was making the lightsaber. You got to
Yes.
pick the different parts of the
That
lightsaber.
was like the best part I think of that game. Like I think the fact that you could customize your lightsaber I think was better. I preferred that over customizing Cal Kestis.
Like, it doesn't matter to me as much that, Cal is Cal.
Yeah.
I was completely fine with how he looked, and I thought, the outfit options
Wait,
were good enough. But the thing I liked was
so
I
wait,
got to make the lightsaber.
there was
I
I've never played it, so there's character customization in that game. I thought
Not
there
no,
Not
you
wasn't.
really.
cannot
You could
change the
change
way
your
he looks. You can
yes.
change your poncho and your like base outfit underneath the poncho, and you can
So
change
basically
the
nothing.
color of your droid.
Yes. You could
But you
change
can
like you could
also
change
Basically nothing.
you could put
for the
customization on
lightsaber you can
PP,
customize the handles and the pump, the
literally everything.
emitters,
Like the
and the
emitters, the
color of the
pommel, the
blade.
handle, the activation trigger.
Yeah,
It you could make both sides of the lightsaber different entirely if you wanted to. It's
except for lightsaber blade color. You can only have one
yes.
blade color.
Yes, but I do believe eventually you can unlock other ones that you could put in.
No, I'm saying you can only have one
Oh, yeah.
for the
You can only
saber.
have the
You
yeah,
have multiple options, but there's only one
only one
color
color
for
at a
the
time.
whole saber,
Yeah,
in
for
that
the
you
entire
can't
thing.
have two different lightsaber blade colors.
No, yeah, but also to be fair, in Star Wars canon, there's never been anything like that.
No, there has not.
Actually, technically, you're wrong. On a
I'm
technical
great.
note, the Force Unleashed did let you have different lightsaber blade colors, and it has been proven through sabers like Maul's that they did use separate sets of
True.
crystals.
That's true.
They
So
used.
hypothetically speaking, there is no restriction on saber color per side of a saber because they have to be separate crystals
Hold
anyway.
on, that's news to me. That we'll save for another time.
Yeah.
But
Also, who did we lose out of the call? Oh, we
uh,
lost Samara.
Samarra.
Okay,
no, she's back.
he's back. But
My
yeah.
Wi-Fi cut out.
Hey, what?
My Wi-Fi cut out.
Ah.
ooh.
Ah,
But yeah, I am familiar that Maul did have two separate crystals in his lightsaber,
yeah.
which is how they can
That
activate
I
independently.
All of
wasn't
the
familiar with.
double-bladed sabers have to run off of multiple crystals
Not all.
due
I
to
know
the
there are some that used one. I think
what
there's
in
Exar
general.
Kun is one of the more infamous ones
Yeah,
that had one.
in general, due to the quote unquote standard construction of the internal of a lightsaber, most dual bladed sabers are basically just two different sabers slapped together in the middle. Whether or not they can be separated is different depending on the saber.
Yeah. Actually, another good example of that is also in Jedi Fallen Order, where the crystal he was going to use fragmented, and he used it as separate crystals for the different ends of the blade, which is why he was able to take them apart and use them as two separate lightsabers.
Yes,
Which is why stuff like that is
that
doable.
is another thing that I loved was just the
Oh yeah.
functionality of that.
Once you unlocked that, I was like looking at it just like okay, so that you're powering both sides. So you made a double bladed. You've already had that for the longest time, and then he snaps it into two, and it's like
Yeah,
unique.
just
And I'm
starts
like,
whipping it out and
what?
slapping other people with the offhand.
I was just like, I saw that. I'm just like, excuse me? Yes, absolutely yes. More of that.
Oof. Oof.
It took some of your force meter to use that. It's like the only
Really?
way. Yeah. It
Yes,
takes your
Jedi
force
Wow.
meter to
slay.
use it like in the to dual wield mode, and you only did it for like a quick flurry of attacks.
So it's basically watching like Sora from Kingdom Hearts trying to do blade.
Ugh.
Yeah. Still a very good game though. I think the combat was very fluid. It felt like it basically just felt like a Star Wars version. I would
Oof.
say not as hard. Nowhere near.
Who
I will
called
say,
it
on a
hard?
technical note, Force Unleashed at certain times on certain difficulties is just a Dark Souls-esque game.
I agree. But in
I will
terms
say,
of
Force
capturing,
Unleashed, I really enjoyed those games as well.
yes, I will say Force Unleashed. It had its moments, but it never truly felt like a Dark Souls kind of game. I would say Fallen
Yeah, I'm
Order.
not saying it is. I'm just saying,
No, yeah, I know. It did have some
especially
moments
on
where it
higher
did feel like,
difficulties.
yeah, in terms of difficulty, it would feel like one, but the gameplay style wasn't one to one. I would say Fallen Order is an actual like Dark Souls, but as Star Wars, which is I found
Okay,
very fun.
we were talking about our favorite things we like in games, and actually, I just remembered one I was thinking about earlier today, and that
Yeah.
is cinematic boss fights,
Ooh,
where
Yes.
yes.
you still have some control over what you actually do. A prime example of this in my eyes, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. I fucking
Oh,
sorry.
yeah,
I love the boss fights in that game
those are fun.
because you do get to control and test your actual skill, but there's also those moments where you get QTEs and like cinematics that go through the fight and just oh, it's so good. It feels like I love those moments where it feels like you're participating in a movie, not just a video game.
Oh yeah, I think another good example, at least I think it's a very good example because I recently played it. The dragon boss fight in God of War, the most recent. I
I
think that
haven't played that.
I
it is
have not
very
played
good.
Dad of Boy either.
Dad of Boy, yes. That
Boy.
boss fight I think was very well paced. I think of the other boss fights in God of War, I want to say that's my favorite because I've played a lot of the God of War franchise. Uh, and I want to say that dragon boss fight is still like my favorite to this day because it feels like a traditional God of War boss fight through and through. In terms of the sheer scale, like you are the size of a man. Granted, Kratos is huge for a man.
He's a big man, but
He's a big
he's
man,
still a
but
man.
still smaller than a dragon. And this is a massive dragon. I do believe it was called Harazlir, spewing lightning out of its maw in like beams at you. And the way the mechanics flew in, like the previous mechanics that you had leading up to that boss fight, helps kind of set the tone for what you're supposed to do for it. So you can kind of put it together for certain phases of it. So it doesn't feel like it's throwing new stuff at you out of nowhere. It feels like it's something you know and can handle. And like through that, it kind of gives you the tools you need to continue onward and take out the boss and that kind of stuff. And I think it's a very well designed boss fight in terms of scale and in terms of like mechanics. And at certain points, you're able to enter these kind of like more cinematic points, and they're kind of like QTEs, where it's just more like you're just mashing. And that's more kind of like what happens in God of War games. And it does make you feel like you're in there, like slashing. There's one point where Kratos is inside of its mouth, with one hand holding open its maw, and with the other with the Leviathan axe just slashing away at it at the roof of its mouth and in the tongue and all that. And you can feel like it's cathartic, just the sheer ferocity of just mashing the button with all of your might as you see Kratos just going to town inside of there. It's fun. I had a blast with that boss fight. The other ones are good, and they do test your skill a lot more than the dragon does. But I think the dragon is my favorite just because it feels more like a traditional God of War boss, and it feels very like fluid in terms of mechanics, and its cinematics are great, and it's just fun. It's just a blast. especially towards
I
the end.
I have one more thing I would like to say that uh, does tie back to Metal Gear Rising Revengeance again,
Going ahead.
and this also applies to the most recent Doom games,
Ooh,
and
Doom
that
Eternal.
is, I don't know the right word for this, but I'll just call it integrated soundtrack into gameplay, where
Yeah.
the soundtrack actively changes in response to things in the video game.
I believe
Now,
Deep Rock actually does that too.
what does?
Deep Rock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Deep Rock
actually,
does do that. But
it does.
a great example of this is in now Doom is unique in that like everything is built around directly what you're doing. And that took a lot of work.
Oh
Big
no, yeah.
respect to Mick Gordon for that. But
Gordon is
the,
amazing.
the thing I loved about it in Metal Gear Rising 1, the soundtrack was just amazing. If you haven't heard it, it is so good. One of the greatest things about that game is the soundtrack. Um, but in multiple fights, actually in like all of the boss fights, there are different sections where the lyrics are not present based off of things going on in the fight. In several of the fights, when you or the boss is disarmed of their weapon, the lyrics will cut out entirely.
Oh,
And that actually has significance based off of what the lyrics are. And that is another thing is the lyrics having such correlation to like the fights themselves is just amazing.
well, hot
That
damn.
is amazing.
I want to say that the most recent Spider-Man games have also had a similar thing to where the like the more intense like music doesn't kick in until you start doing stuff. Like for example, the more like like there's a certain soundtrack that only plays like when you're just walking around the city. It's very little like there's no music. The second you start web swinging, wow, it makes you it feels like it is cinematic in and of itself as you're just going through as the music is dynamic flowing with you as you are swinging across the map. It is an absolute blast, and the combat music that plays like it's a variety. I think that's another good example where the music is kind of going with what you're doing, and that makes it feel more, I guess not intense, but immersive, I would say is the
Immersive.
right word.
Immersion is very good. Small note of I love like when you're playing a game that can be played on controller and there's rumble.
Oh
That's
yeah,
just a immersion feature I absolutely love.
it's very fun. But yeah. Whew.
I I uh, I will say to end off the topic of music, just that in general, I feel almost every medium of entertainment is enhanced with good music
Oh
because
yeah.
I
movies and
fully
shows,
agree.
a good soundtrack can make the difference, especially when it comes to your emotions.
I think
I'm
it's typically
imagining
one of
we'll
our like
probably have some episodes of this later talking about shows and stuff, so I won't
Yeah.
get too deep into it. But a example of a amazing soundtrack that had great emotion to it is the Devilman Crybaby soundtrack.
You're a monster.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. In terms of the soundtrack.
Yeah, that will have to be discussed at a later date, though.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Whew. Hot damn.
All right.
Javi, you are
I think it's
next.
Mara's turn.
Yeah.
It's either Samarra or me. I don't mind going after Samarra.
Alright,
I hope I didn't
Samara?
take up too much time with mine.
Oh, no, you
Nah,
didn't.
like
You didn't. This is supposed to take a little while after all.
yeah. We gotta fill this in with something.
So, Javi, let's go ahead and say you're next.
Okay. In terms of like gameplay designs and mechanics that I am just very fond of, I it really depends. Like, I love the replayability of roguelikes. I love the exploration of Metroidvanias. I love like customization and just the rewarding of like of the grind. I'm the kind of player that I enjoy the grind. I enjoy like
Sorry.
uh, I've still been enthralled by D2. Um, but like I there's a lot of aspects that I very much enjoy, and it varies from genre to genre as to why I go to them for. I think this is also probably a reason why Deep Rock is so high on my list of like games I just love, because it's one of the few that really encapsulates a lot of the different aspects of games that I just very much enjoy. Like, it encourages exploration of the maps you go into with like different secrets you can find hidden around the maps. It encourages like your practice and grind in the game with like better gear that you can obtain by playing it more or by grinding it on and like trying to upgrade and everything. It it has good replayability in the sense that every mission feels different. Like, you can play the same kind of missions over and over again, and it would feel different based upon where you are, what modifiers there are, the difficulty levels, or the complexity of the cave and the length of the mission. There's just so many variables that make it so that no two missions that you do are never like the same. It's a lot of different things I like, and especially the customization. Like I mentioned it earlier, where you can pour in so much effort into grinding out the game, and the reward in that is that you have upgrades for your weapons that you enjoy, and your character looks the way you want it, like all that kind of stuff. I am very, very much enjoy when it comes to the games I play. Um, but if I had to pick one that I value the most, I I'm gonna have to say customization in terms of like the ability to play any particular way that you enjoy. When people like when developers make it so that there is no one correct way to play the game, that there's so many different ways you can go and all of them are viable or all of them are fun. I think that that truly makes a game fun in the sense that you can go in, play what you feel comfortable with or play what you enjoy, and you're not going to do any better or any worse than someone else who may be attempting to optimize more. And I think that means a lot to me as a player. You know?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
I played all the Lego games. I
Oh,
just love
love the Lego
customizing
games.
the Lego people. I don't know why, but I always changed it to a girl and had like all the male attachments to them. Like I don't know why the girls can just do backflips. I'm like the guys should do that too.
I want this character to be able to do backflips and stuff. Why is
Yeah.
it only the female characters that
I
can do
love
that?
playing the old Indiana Jones where the girls you just press B and they start screaming.
Or there's
Oh
like the
god.
ones that
Okay.
can just jump insanely high.
Yeah. Uh
Oh, hey, you know what? We're talking about games. I want to bring up one old one. I know Nick's talked about, and I know I've talked about to Crème, but me and Nick have never talked about it to each other. Uh, and that franchise of games is going to be Skylanders.
oh, I played it and I
Ah,
regret playing it.
I
But
love
damn was it fun.
Skylanders. It was so much fun.
Ju-
I think I've played
I'm
every
gonna say
single one.
one thing about Skylanders, and
Mhm.
this is my piece. And remember, I said everybody has their niche in gaming. I don't understand the whole buy this figurine, stick it on a platform, and now you get to play a game. Like I
I know,
never
right?
Yeah,
personally,
I will
and then
say,
the thing is that I will say I love Spyro, love
Yeah.
Spyro, and the fact that he got basically demoted to a Skylander game, I'm like, but
yeah,
anyway, that's my piece.
it is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Um, I will say it is a very expensive franchise to get into.
Hmm.
Um, but oh god, was it fun? I've played
I know,
every
right?
Skylanders game from Spyro's Adventure to Imaginators. The only one I haven't played, ironically, was Superchargers. The one with all the, like the
No, me
vehicle
neither.
themes.
I played. I think I stopped at Giants.
It just it really is that the Giants?
Yeah.
I stopped at Swap Force.
Mm. Uh, I didn't play Superchargers. I stopped at the one before it. The one before it was Trap Team, I think. Uh,
Hmm.
and then I stopped at I didn't play Superchargers because I didn't really want to play just a Skylanders version of Mario Kart when I actually had Mario Kart, or at least it was to me. And I heard the storyline and stuff was okay. Some of the Skylanders that are in there were really cool, but not my taste.
Hmm.
Uh, the one that I think was my all-time favorite was the last one in the franchise, Imaginators, only because it allowed you to create your own Skylanders, and that just really spoke to me.
I heard that the Skylanders were gonna get like all the Skylanders that you bought are gonna get how do you say they stopped making them and they're gonna
Yes.
get I
Uh,
don't know what is the word called.
I know they're discontinued, meaning they no longer make those products, but they're not getting recalled.
They're well the Skylanders are not gonna be any work or because the coding in them are already gonna die, you know?
What?
Sounds
No,
right.
Something like
I
that.
might, I
Yeah.
might look into that. It could just
that
be rumor,
sucks.
because they would just be compatible with certain like stuff
I mean,
for the games.
a guy just put all his Skylander codes in the computer in case that happens. Uh,
Uh,
Coding in them.
no, but yeah, I'm very like honestly, I would probably still be occasionally playing it to this day if my cause the most recent platform I had all that stuff on was a Wii U, uh, and it stopped working a while back. So I'm trying to see if I can either get a different platform for Imagineer specifically, or try to see if I can get my Wii U fixed. And if
Who,
not, then oh well.
who was your favorite character you got?
Oh, that's a hard pick. Um,
I
if
don't
we're
know why, but
talking
I'm a
like
Sonic Boom forever.
oh god,
Boomer.
if we're talking like if we're talking favorite Skylander, I'm gonna say Stealth Elf.
Stealth. Oh my god.
She was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't get her. I wanted her.
I had 3 different versions of her. I want to say.
I think I
Um,
had like 2 or 3.
I
my favorite was the Ninja Stealth Elf version.
That's the one I have. I don't have
I
any other
had the
version of
fire
Stealth Elf.
arrow dude. The
I
fire
had
elf
the I
dude.
had the versions
Blind Shot, I
from
think is what it's called.
Yeah,
which one?
something.
The blind fire
Yeah, I
arrow
believe it was.
archer.
Flame Slinger.
Flame slinger.
Flame Slinger.
I have him, and don't ask how I know all these names of the Skylanders. Just by
I
heart.
think I think
Right,
the
now,
reason I called him Blind Shot is because of Blind Spot from the boys.
I had most of the Giants Skylanders
I actually didn't
except the
have a lot
I,
of
fire
the
I,
one.
Giants.
I would like to quickly bring up. We discussed the price of things like Skylanders, and that is
Yes.
a big detractor, especially as I've gotten older and have to start paying for things myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a game that I totally would have gotten into properly, but just could not because of the price associated with doing it, was the Lego Skylanders equivalent, Lego Dimensions.
Dimensions. Yeah.
Oh, weird.
I loved it because they were bringing in very interesting properties, including Portal and Adventure Time, all sorts of interesting stuff. Back to the Future, loved that. Hated it because of the fact of 2 things. One, it was just like Skylanders. You had to have a physical piece of property in order to use something in the game. And
And then
Thank you.
two,
amiibos came alive.
I love Legos, so I was half interested in the actual figurine more so than the actual Lego.
And so
Like
I
I
guess
got the
here's the
Portal
thing.
one because I wanted official Lego shell.
No, yeah. I guess with Lego Dimensions, its saving grace was that it wasn't just the game that you could be interested in. You could also be interested in the actual like sets that came with or the sets that would
Oh,
be used for them all. Like that was still
Yeah,
pretty
my
cool.
issue with it was just I couldn't get into the game because I would need to buy more of
Yeah.
the
The
Legos
sets were
to
awesome.
actually feel like I could enjoy the game.
oh
No,
my
And at
yeah.
the
god, we're
time,
not
we
gonna find
just
that
did not have
1%.
the money.
I'm trying to think what other games try to copy like stuff that Skylanders. I think like also a while back,
The the one with the Incredibles, what was that one?
Disney Infinity. Yeah.
Disney
Oh
That's
Infinity.
yeah,
it.
Disney
I
Infinity.
wanted the shit out of it.
I
I couldn't get
own
behind that one because I didn't like the art style.
I actually own all 3 versions of Disney Infinity.
Oh my god, dude, I
Ha.
wanted to play as Dash or Violet so
Dash was
fucking
really cool to
bad.
play as because you could just
Yeah,
speed run around the map like as much as you wanted.
it's really cringy now, but damn, I
Yeah.
wanted it.
Okay, 1 second.
Dude, I was like crying to my mom, like, please get it, get it. I don't know why I want it, but I need it. I don't know. I
Alright, give me
can't
one
live
sec.
with
I'll be right back.
another day without it. Yeah, but I didn't get it. But thank God they didn't get it for me. It would have been another addicted hole I would have been through.
Another addiction you would fall into.
Yeah. I don't know where all my Skylanders are at now. We had like a full duffel bag full of them.
I actually still have like a small Skylanders bag full of all the Skylanders I still have. I don't think it's all my Skylanders. I think I probably still got more aside from the ones in there.
I probably have like 40 Skylanders. I
But
don't know. I'm
my
trying to
number
guess
one
the
favorite
summarize that
Skylander,
number.
hands down, is Pop Fizz.
Pop Fizz, yeah.
My
Ocean
first
in the motion.
potion in the motion. My number one used to be Boomer, and was also Trigger Happy. The two of them just crazy dumbasses.
Hmm.
And then after Giants came out, and I got really attached to Pop Fizz and Igniter. Just it's the two
I'm
of them. I'm stuck between the two of them, Pop Fizz and Igniter.
no, I'm always gonna be a Sonic Boom one. That's like the Black Griffin Pro?
All right, Crème, everything's complete.
I can't.
Yep,
Is it
I'm.
complete? Oh my God, where was the last piece? Oh my God,
There were
Oh,
several last pieces
Crème
that we
is
got.
Crème is sitting under
oh
what
my,
the last piece was.
where was it? Oh my
This
God.
was down here, just. So Samara, what aspects of a game do you look for? Do you do stand out to you the most?
Well, I said I like RPGs, so this was bound to come. So there's two things I love and I always look for in a game and that's character design and
Yes.
character design. Let me finish. Character design and then lore. Because the thing is if I'm going to devote, because when I play a game, I devote myself to the game. So for instance, um, I was talking about Dragon Age Origins. That was like for me one of like to this day it's still one of my favorite RPGs. I also love like Masquerade, the Bloodlines Masquerade is also another really a good game that I like. But it's because I like the lore. So for instance, like with Dragon Age Origins, when you did your character customization, you got to pick which background your character came from. So you were either a city elf, a slave elf, or the city slave elf or whatever, or you were a Dalish, or and then if you were a dwarf, you could either be in the Carta, or you can be the royalty, or if you were human, you could be either human royalty or a mage. And the whole thing is like it basically created like the character behind your character, the essence of your character. And I really liked that because it was like that was how people viewed you. Like, oh, you were a fucking, you excuse me, but you were a blood mage, and how dare you? And but that's what
I'll
I like.
kill
And so it's
you.
like when I played, exactly, and it's like so when I play a game, I love that because it's like if I'm going to devote myself to a game wholeheartedly, I want to lose myself in the world because otherwise it's like it's not that fun. So like we talked about, I'm making a game. So I'm looking at the aspects of my game, and I actually made this game back in high school, and I'm not going to say my age again, so y'all have to have paid attention. But back in high school, I was really into character design and animation, and I actually wanted to make video games and stuff. And so I actually put together this 2-chapter game, and never really did anything after I finished it. And so here I am several years later coming back to it. And I was like, you know what? First of all, my art style is horrendous. Second of all, I love these characters and I really want to finish it. But so I've been going through and I the thing is like we talked about the 2000s, I feel like it was just all around edge lord central because there's quite a few edge lords I had to cut out of this game. So
Okay,
it's
I
that
will
same.
I will stop you there. We may have moved past the OOs, but I still like edgelords.
If
Okay,
edgelords
there's
are
different
done,
types
Tastefully,
of edge
okay,
lords,
tastefully done.
but there's
let me.
different types of edge lords. Like there's you've got your generic edge lords, like for instance Virgil, who was just like I want power, and then you got your kind of your edge lords that are like they're edgy, but they're not so cool. edgy. Like they're almost cringeworthy. You know what I mean? And those are my favorite to make
I
because you
think
I'll
hate
put it
them.
this way.
You hate them so much, and it's just like the character that you end up hating the most is secretly becomes the character that you're like, I hate you, but I also kind of respect you, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Wait
You
until my
have
I'll
like
put it
father
this way
hears
by
about this.
comparing two edgelords with the same title. Both of these edgelords are called the Black Swordsmen. They are both edgelords. However,
And
one of them
dual wield.
I have no respect for, and one of them I have a lot of respect for,
I am
even though I
assuming
still
okay.
visually like the other. Guts
Well, that's
and
Kirito.
Kirito. That's his name. Kirito.
Kirito, the most edge
I
lord
hate.
in
First of all, I'm
anime.
gonna say this, and it's gonna upset a lot of people, but I hate Sword Art Online.
Oh
Hate
my
it.
god, I
No,
hate
that's
it
my
I
right now,
point.
Samara.
I don't
I
like
hate
Kirito.
it,
I
and
don't
I'm
like
gonna
Sword
get
Art
so many
Online.
people that are gonna get mad, but I don't care. The characters are like, first of all,
How
the
dare you
character
hate
are
that
like
terrible anime?
it literally is terrible. It's awful. It's literally like the most cliche. Characters are so like one-sided. I feel nothing towards them. Like the entire time, like when Ozuna was like supposedly gonna die, I'm just like, okay, some excitement finally. Like I literally I felt nothing to the characters. Like literally nothing. Like I was playing Corpse Party and like I love Corpse Party. And some of the characters in Corpse Party, I was like, yeah, you freaking kill them. Go after them. Get them, boy. Yeah, you know, like that. But like, I felt nothing towards these characters. Nothing. So, like, I didn't even watch. I watched like maybe a couple of episodes. I think I watched all of the first season because my sister forced me.
I
And I
finished it.
literally, it's horrendous. I will
Yes.
never touch it again. Not with a not even if you told me that I would either have to do this or drink acid.
Can
Like
I
I
say
would
something?
gladly down the acid with a shot of bleach because
Can I
maybe
say
that'll
something?
make
It
me
doesn't
forget
get
that I
better
watched that thing.
if you keep on
Uh,
watching.
I believe it. I believe it. It's a terrible anime, and people are like, "Yay! It's the 10th anniversary," and I'm like, "It's garbage. It's
After I finished
literal
the last episode, I wanted to
garbage.
rip my eyes out.
It's horrendous." So
so looks like anime is going to be a
let me
future
finish.
topic too. But
yeah,
some
Yeah,
finish up
we'll do
tomorrow.
that
I
another
was just
time.
trying to
So
bring
I
up
want to.
edgelords, not get onto the
Okay,
topic of anime.
no, no, it's all good. Anyway, sorry, I got
God,
carried
I
away.
love
But the whole point is
Evangelion.
that oh my god, don't even start with like that. We'll
My
deal
my
with that
point was
later.
it's
Um,
about how you portray the character, regardless
Yeah.
of their
Let's
being an
let's look
edgelord.
at some good, well done edge lords. You said guts.
okay,
Guts.
okay, Guts is a great edge lord. Okay, great. I like
Guts
how
is a
I
great
never even got to
edgelord.
finish the assets of gaming. I was like attracted to, but whatever. Yeah. So Guts is a really good edge lord because he's that character depth. He's got you secretly root for him. He's also kind of really gross, but you root for him because you feel for him because at the end of the day, you just want one good thing for Guts. Just one good thing. And I mean, he had one good thing, and then things happened, and Griffith sucks. And if that spoils freaking Berserk for you, well, you've had 40 years to catch up.
Griffith
Like, I
sucks
Yeah,
don't know
is
what
not
to
a
tell you.
spoiler. It is a fact.
it's a fact.
Yeah, Griffith
We have
literally
not
sucks. Like, he's
specified
the
any of the
biggest
things
piece of
he has
crap.
done, of which there is many.
I'm like,
No,
probably this
he's
guy's
literally the
misunderstood.
biggest piece of crap. Literally biggest piece of crap. But that's my point. Is like Griffith is one of those characters. Like I told you just now, the characters that you end up hating become the most memorable to you because you just hate them. Another good one, for instance, Sephiroth. I love Final Fantasy VII. Just gonna say that right now. Love it.
Oh, yes.
Hate Sephiroth. Why do I hate him? Because he made me cry as a child. Because when you're a small child and you just identify with Aerith because she is a good girl, and you are a good girl, and you want to be like Aerith because she is also like you because you're both good girls, and then you watch said good girl get stabbed by a white-haired man who looks like he shops at Hot Topic, you
He
you
does
start
shop at
hating
Hot
him. And
Topic.
the whole he does, not gonna lie. But the whole point is
So
like he also, but it's like the characters you end up hating the most is the characters that become the most memorable. Like we only think about the characters we hate. Like for instance, I said Griffith, and everybody's like, oh, like that's the whole thing. Like same thing. Like it's those characters that you hate. And so like when I'm making a game or when I'm making a story, I try to think of a character that I want you to hate. I want you to hate them from the core. of your being. I want you to just be like rooting because it makes you more part of the story if you hate a certain character. Because otherwise you're just like you're not as invested. So whenever those are like for me, it's like that character design and the lore of a game is like the most important because otherwise you don't have a game. You just have button mashing and boobs.
Boom. I want to
Basically,
Boom.
point out another well done edge lord. This one's not from a game. This one's actually from the boys. Billy Butcher.
Billy Butcher.
Mm.
He
is he
is
really an
not.
edgelord?
Yeah, he
Yes,
is.
he's an edge lord. He's textbook.
Dude, his wife died, and now he has a vendetta against superheroes and will kill them as brutally as he absolutely has as much
Yeah,
fun
no.
doing.
So so I'm gonna say this is an edge lord. The typical edge lord, so that you have to have three things. You have to have a goal. You have to have really brooding, dark nature, and then
Angst.
also devil may care attitude. Um, and then last but not least, somebody you love must have died, or you are looking for that lost loved one, or somebody did something, or
Something
you
bad
basically
has to
lose
have
something.
happened to someone you care about.
And, like,
For
very
instance,
bad.
John Wick is also an edge lord, and
Yes.
convince me
Yes,
otherwise.
John Wick
John
is
Wick
another textbook
is
edge
the
lord that is very
definition
loved.
because guess what? His dog died. Well, I mean, yeah, his girlfriend did too, or his wife
Wife
did
My
too, but
actually
his
dog
did.
dog
died. I
died.
am going to murder the entire mafia.
Yes, that's
And it's
literally the
so
plot of
great
the
because
first
even
movie.
like the mafia realizes it too because they go, "Yeah, we hit his dog," and they're like, "You killed his
You
dog?
what?
Are you insane?
You
Are you? We are
what?
all gonna die." So, like
Now I kind of don't want to
that
watch
is the
any of the
point.
John Wick movies.
Yeah, that the plot
John
of the
Wick's
first
a
movie.
great series.
It's so
I
good.
love John Wick. It's so good. And then Keanu Reeves is actually so fun facts about Keanu Reeves. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of like side noting here, a little bit about film. So not a lot of people know, or some people who do know who do film or whatever. When they do multiple shots, the reason they're doing that is because the person doesn't either they don't act very well or they can't stunt very well. So therefore they have to use somebody as a backup. So they do multiple shots to line it up to look like a scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I'm watching a movie, I always or like an action movie, I always count how many times they cut a scene. And you know how they cut a scene is when it goes like for instance, they'll be looking at the camera and then punching and then the angle of the punch changes so you don't look at them. It's hard to explain. But like once you get really like down to the makeup of it, you learn what scenes are really good at having extended cuts. So John
I
Wick is
have
a
returned.
very good movie.
I
Welcome.
like the movie
So
Heat
John
It
Wick is a
when
really
Al
good
Pacino
movie
was in
because
it,
of the fact.
and then like the two actors that were supposed to talk together never met, and it was like there was like some awkward cuts, and it was great.
Well, yeah, but that's not that kind of cut. What I mean is
Yeah.
like so when you see action shots that don't get cut, like in John Wick, that means people are doing their jobs right. The camera angles are perfect. So I that's one reason why whenever I talk about action films, I always say Wick is up there because the action scenes are mwah, chef's kiss. Like anybody else who's seen John Wick will agree with me.
It's fair.
Okay, I
I
know
do.
this is supposed to be about video games, but I do have one comment on the shots thing, and that is
Mm-hmm.
movies done in one take.
Yes.
I believe
Ah,
1911 was the name of this one, where it was a World War I movie done in one
That
continuous.
was a good one.
Amazing, loved that.
It's a fantastic movie.
Ow. There we go.
so
I'm
back
sorry.
to the topic of video
Back to
games. Let's
back
reel
well
back.
back to Samarra because we did cut
Yeah,
Samarra off
let's
talking
reel
about Edgelord.
back to Samara.
Oh, okay.
You were talking about
So
characters. You talked about edge lords. You were talking about the characters you made. Talking about characters that you absolutely just hate.
yes. So the whole point is that like when you're making a game, and I'm gonna tell this to all the people out there who are like, I'm gonna tell you another thing too. Anybody can make a game. Anybody out there who says I would love to make games, but I can't do it. Now you can do it. Literally, look at me. I'm going to school to be a nurse at a certain age that I'm not going to describe, but I'm just going to say I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20, and leave it at that. And the point is that I still love making games as a hobby. So like I draw character art, I animate things. And I learned all of this on my own because I had no friends growing up as a small child. So I had to teach
Same.
myself. And but at the same time, you can do whatever your mind puts your side to. So anyway, the point is that whenever I'm making a character or like doing a story, I always like to look at this character like what is their motivation? And then I think about that character, I kind of grill on it, and then I go, oh, they're like this. So for instance, I'm gonna bring up one of the characters from a game that I'm making, and I'm not going to make it too long because I will do that to y'all. Um, but one of the characters I made was my personal favorite, and Nick himself said he loves this character. It's
Yes.
Zaki. Let me tell you about Zaki. So Zaki, first of all, so the game, all I'm going to say is that it takes place in an alternate world where magic exists because of what are called ley lines. Yes, I know that's been in multiple games. No, I'm not going to change the title. I don't care. The point is that Zaki is actually descended from the line from Scheherazade, who is a very strong magician. Anyway, so he's a very strong magician, but he's a magic knight, which is a specific type of magician. That's not why Zaki is great. Zaki is great because he is an awkward boy that just wants a girlfriend, but he doesn't know how to do it properly, and he came from such a proper family. So in his mind, the only way he thinks he can woo a woman is through terrible poetry. And I literally love this character so much just because he is so cringy.
You
Because
will
at
die
times
with
he
him.
just cannot. I will die with him because he is secretly a good boy that just wants to be loved, but he doesn't know how to interact with people. And even in the game, you get to choose if you want to be a guy or a girl. And I'm debating. I don't think I'm gonna make it bisexual. I'm sorry, Jebus, but
Aww.
I know. But I might make the cat boy. But that's another story for another
Okay.
day. But the point is that Zaki actually gets so awkward at one point because in one point in the game, you can make the option in order to start the love route you can choose to flirt back. And let me tell you, this man crumbles. His entire, like, just motivation, everything, because never in his life has a woman flirted back to him. So his
I
entire
like
being has been destroyed.
I love that, but I would like to make a comment about something I feel important that you just kind of brought up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this also circles back to at the start when we were talking about dating sims, and that is, I feel it is important in video games, especially when the topic of dating comes up, that it is okay in video games for characters to have their sexuality be specific. I don't think
Exactly.
that, in a date, like a prime example, if I recall correctly, I've never played these games. The Mass Effect series, I believe you were talking about. You get the choice of
Let me
playing a
tell
male
you,
or
there
a
are
female,
so many things you can do in that game.
but my
I played
point
it many
is,
a time.
I believe you get the choice of being a male or a female in those games, and the
Yes.
characters, some of them are bisexual, if I recall, but some of them also are not, and you have to be a specific gender to romance them. And I
And no, and
like
they even did that in other games, like in Dragon Age too. Like there's one character I love him. I wish I could romance him, but he is as gay as a rainbow, and his name is Dorian. And let me tell you, I wanted to romance him so bad that I turned myself into a male elf just to romance this man.
I mean,
But
that's my
yes,
point. I feel it is very important to not make every character all encompassing. Not every character needs to be bi. Can
or
bi
not
people
every
exist?
character needs to
Sure.
be accessible.
Yeah. Yes. Ev- it
Like you need to
I
be able to
think
play
that
multiple
a
routes.
character's sexuality should not just be the subject of can I get in their pants? Yes or no.
No,
That would get the people
It
to
should
play the game
apply
again.
to the character as the character is intended to be.
no, and even like in the game that I'm making, there is several characters because like I think I'm gonna make a total of 10 characters that are playable, and then there's characters outside that you can romance. But the whole point is that I wanted to make a game where the world it was vibrant as well as the characters. So Zaki was one of the first characters I actually made, and the reason I made him is because I had a friend who was just like him, where literally he flirted with every single girl in the most cringy, uncomfortable way. No, I'm not going to name him because that's rude. But if he knows who he is, and if he's listening to this podcast, you know who you are. But the
Was it
point
with
is that he was
poetry?
a very good person, huh?
Was it with poetry?
No, but it was something else, and like I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna because then it's not my business. I'll just say that. But all I'm gonna say is that like we, as a female, he hit on me, and then when he realized he wasn't getting anywhere, he hit on people around him that were female. The point is that it took one girl coming up to him and flirting back, and like I told you, just like with Zaki, he crumbled because and that's the reason why I wanted to make characters like that were like just human, because having these characters that are over the top and just basically chads and just like I didn't want that. And that's the same reason why I hate Sword Art Online, because all the characters are just super powerful. They're they're gonna win. There's no risk, there's no reward. There's no risk, so there's no reward. It just feels empty. So like when you're making a character, making a video game, and you want to sit down and think about characters, don't think about like over the top characters. Like yeah, it's okay to have an edge lord or a very, you know, kind of slutty character. Like that's normal, but it's okay to have human characters, because at the end of the day, the characters that are going to appeal to people the most are the characters that are the most human. For instance, also another game that I really like, Fire Emblem Three Houses. If you've never played that game, go play it. I love Fire Emblem. I don't know how many more times I have to say it, but I love that game. In the game, there is one character in particular named Marianne. Oh my god, this poor child has been through enough in her life. And there's actually a point in the game, if you don't recruit her to your house and you don't do the golden deer route, it's hinted at that she actually kills herself because she suffers from such drastic depression. So
Wow.
like yeah, it's pretty rough. So when I found that out on the Wikipedia, I was like, no, like I couldn't handle it. But like the thing is that the characters, even in that game, who are the most humanistic and the most relatable, become the ones that you remember. And that's the reason why whenever I'm making games, that's the same thing I look at, is I look at the characters and then I look at the lore, and that's it.
That actually brings me to. I feel a little nervous to talk about it, but I do want to talk about it. The Moonlit Black Knight, a story that I want to make. The main character, the Black Knight, is going to be a textbook edgelord. He has a purpose, though he has no
Mhm.
personal motive for it. That I am going to poke fun
And
at.
they're not an edge lord.
Yeah,
They're not an edge lord yet. So every edge lord, like I
but he
told you, they
does
have
have a
those three
personal motive
tropes.
for how he got there in the first place, and it is a
Okay.
classic textbook edgelord. Shit happened to him. Some people he loved died, and he got into the situation because he's just trying to escape everything, and he ends up not caring what he does. The whole goal of
So
kill the vampire in the end is nothing personal to him. It's the journey to escape everything is what is personal to him. I'm not able to explain it that well.
so then that's another thing, is like when you're making a character, it takes a long time. Like some of my characters that I've made, I've sat ruminating over them for months, and like I
There
don't
you
even
go.
come up with a sketch yet, because you literally just think about them. So like whenever I tell other people who like my art, or they ask me how I set up a game or a story or anything, it it's not a perfect science. You sometimes the very first characters you make, you'll show them to people and they go ew, you know, like you got to be willing to like go outside of your comfort zone. So sometimes like with characters, when you're trying to figure out, like I have a rule book. Whenever you're doing characters, I have a 5-step process. The first thing is you want to come up with an idea or a personality. So the very first thing, before I even think of the character, I think of a personality. So are they going to be male or female? Are they going to be kind? Are they going to be evil? Are they going to be chaotic? Or are they just going to be all over the place? And once I come up with that kind of general idea, that's a good broad statement to come up with. Then I go and I do what I call is like a sub personality. So, like for instance, if they're kind, are they kind but secretly really mean, or are they like actually kind but super naive? Like something to go with it, and it kind of goes breaks up into those little subcategories. And then okay, I have this personality. Now, looking in my head, what do they kind of look like based off of this personality, based off of that, like what's their story? So like for instance, if they're like in my game we have a cat boy. um why is he a cat boy? Well, he's a cat boy, so he's gonna look like this. And okay, well, he is comes from a certain area in the city. Oh, so he looks like this. And so that's kind of your like third step, kind of the third and fourth step is just kind of basically looking at like where they come from. Fourth step's kind of coming up with an idea after that. The fifth step is the most fun, which is drawing it. And once you get it down on paper, it's easy to go, okay, boom, now I can name them. Because now you have a visual representation of the character, or even a written representation of the character. Now that you've written everything out, you can come up with an idea of, okay, here's their name. You see what I mean? So that's what I always recommend to do. And so like even with your story that you want to do, Nick, like I would do the same process with that character. So like even if you can't figure out what his motivation is right away, you can still be kind of mysterious. Or if for instance like with him he's doing it because it's the right thing to do, but he just doesn't really care. Like that can still be a drive.
That
So for instance, instead of wording it like that, it can be um
that
yeah, he doesn't care, but he has nothing better to do. Like he's lived his life like this way. So what else does he have left to lose?
that
You know what I mean?
perfectly actually describes what I've already come up with for him. It
Yep.
it's hunting vampires. It's killing a great evil in the world. It really is the right thing to do, and he
Yep.
honestly doesn't have anything better to do.
So like
Like I
I
said,
that's the reason why I tell people it's not perfect science.
yeah,
Anyway,
like I said,
yeah,
the reason the way he got there is he's literally trying to escape his past. He literally walked into it trying to walk away from something. And so while killing the vampire, that specific thing isn't personal to him, just being there is kind of personal to him because the whole reason he's there is because trauma.
right.
That's how I can
Well, and
that's the best way I can put it.
honestly, like I said, it's not a perfect science. Like everybody has a different way of doing things, but
Yeah.
it's a good starting point to
Yeah.
use. You know,
If I
and
wanted
I'm
to
not
describe Calanth the way you do here with your things, with like his personality and sub personality. Personality, I guess, what he gives off is kind of a dick. He's very blunt,
okay.
direct, doesn't sugarcoat anything, even if it makes
hmm
him really sound like an ass. Uh, and that's just him. But like a sub personality, what you see under that is someone who is shit. How do sorry for the sorry for that. You censor that. But how to describe the sub personality is very much of a I don't have the energy to deal with most of this crap, but I have to anyway, and very apathetic.
I thought it would be more
Yeah.
like Goblin Slayer.
The
Well,
fighting could also be effectively used as his method of escape from the previous trauma he's been dealt. Like that's something he can do to kind of take his mind off of it, maybe.
the thing that happened is he had a choice of three people to save, with only enough time to save one of them, and he hesitated for too long to save
And
any of
save
them,
none of them.
and ended up
Oh, and
saving none of them.
all of them died.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and
Yeah.
so
Somebody couldn't pull the lever on their train dilemma fast enough.
I would
yeah,
just die with them.
that that's kind of where he was for a while, and he ended up going into a war very shortly after that, and that's just kind of where he put all his emotion into the anger and everything. He just fronted it all into random people behind helmets and felt no remorse. And now that he's done with that, and now that he's doing what he's doing in modern time, he's starting to feel some of the remorse of the fact that he literally killed so many people. He didn't really take any prisoners. He, was executed, put to death a lot of
So I
soldiers that
actually have
didn't have much to do with this other than their opposing faction.
So I
Yeah,
actually have a really good idea for you to help you with your character as well. So you said that he was like because he was in war and he's so used to killing and it doesn't really bother him. That could be something. It could be his drive is to find he has no empathy. So like for instance, like he empathizes but he doesn't empathize. You know what I mean? He
yes.
understands empathy, but
Uh,
he's not
border
empathetic.
borderline getting on antisocial personality disorder.
Exactly. And that's a good thing because that could be kind of his motivation along with killing vampires is to become more human.
Hey, I like that. That's
Write
not
that
something
down.
I
Write
haven't
that
There
thought
is a
down.
different. I like to think of a good way of phrasing what you're talking about. There is a difference between comprehending something and experiencing it. You can
That's my
fully
point. It's like
comprehend
some
and
people you can
understand what
understand
something is and
you
not
can
feel it.
understand feelings. Yeah, you can understand people like and understand how they feel, but you don't have to feel it. So that could be
Mm-mm.
something because like that's an actual thing is that a lot of people who are like go through warfare and a lot of and it doesn't even have to be that, just trauma induced anything. Sometimes some people really struggle with that and they don't understand emotional pain. And so for instance, like with your character, he's been through some shit. Like if any I'm sorry, I'm swearing a lot but he's been through a lot. So if anything, it's causing him he no longer feels human. So the only way he feels human is by killing vampires because in that way he's still considered human. But in any other way, he struggles with the fact that he feels like he lost his humanity. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
I
Yeah.
love you guys so much.
Like
I
I
hate
said, been doing this a long time, baby.
Nick, Nick, I love you guys so much. I hate every single one of you.
I hate you. You were my
You're
brother,
fucked.
Crème. I loved you.
And
Oh,
not
I
in the real
hate you.
like I just realized I had to fix myself there because I said yeah no you're fucked Creme and I'm like oh wait not by me.
You're goddamn
Oh,
right.
oh, that's brutal.
Oh, Creme, you must have felt your soul die a
I'm
little
so
inside.
sorry. Oh,
Doing here. Oh wait, no, I can't sing.
And this is the day that Crème became Heisenberg.
And this is the day
Oh, great grandpa, good
Creme
to see you.
has continued. I'm not going to say that word, actually, because it might be rendered as
Oh,
one of the words that Twitch doesn't want us to say. But it starts with an N
oh,
and ends
man,
with an
I love
I.
this already. This freaking chaos that is here.
Oh, yeah,
Negative.
that negative. That doesn't end with an I.
There is such a thing as
Negative.
our Discord, good buddy. From what I've experienced on podcasts, this is where we send the words we're too afraid to say.
Of course, I just
Yes,
did that now.
I feel, guys, I feel like literally, oh no, he sent it. He sent it. That was very rude,
I
Nick.
I was
If
making
anything,
a Breaking
it
Bad
made me
joke.
even drier than sandpaper. So thank you.
Wait, what?
That never mind. Y'all didn't hear that.
No.
I
Something of
heard
a
that.
sandpaper.
Cat did.
Now everybody else did it because they didn't pay attention. So it's out in the universe and no one else heard it.
Oh,
I'm
don't worry.
busy
This
getting
is being
Whoever
It's out in the
recorded
pod
too.
universe.
washing.
Then I guess I'm the
Here's the
universe.
thing. Here's the thing that
As
you need
I
to
heard that
consider.
loud and clear.
Don't worry, Samara.
Sadako,
It's being
here's the thing
recorded.
to consider. Nick can always just rewind the footage.
Yeah.
Like I said, I am
But
not just streaming, I am recording. This will be on YouTube.
Ah,
And there is this thing called editing. And it's a thing we can do.
yes,
So
yeah.
we
Don't
could say
edit any of
anything,
this. This
right?
is
I'm not
golden
saying
right
we
here,
should
man.
censor out all of the swears though. We can
Oh
keep
no,
some
no.
of them.
Oh no,
it'll be
I'm not.
You can
I'm
make
not
it into
editing anything. This
dolphin noises.
from second 0 to second 100% of everything that's been talked about and shown here on this video is going up on YouTube. I'm not
I
editing
will say
anything because I suck
something
at
we
editing.
could consider is making clips,
it's
like
also true.
taking good bits out of the pod wash.
Podwash
Um,
Powercast.
Podwash
because
Powercast.
I have been wanting to get into like doing some video editing, so I would be willing to like
Please
throw my
be
hat
my
in the
editor. I
It's
know
like,
ring.
hey,
about
Be my
Crème, you'll have
business
to go.
payment.
If you want more practice, I plan on getting into content creation as well. Or rather getting back into it because I've been very on and off about it.
So,
I can't
so
make up my mind if I
Why
want to
are
do it
you
or not.
locked in the bathroom?
We've gone back and forth from lots of different things. Now, the real meat of what I did want was game design. How we all the different aspects of everything we know. Samarra with artistic talent and also having experience in game design. Jesus with his knowledge in computers and their limits. Crème, Javi, and I with character work and mostly voice acting, and Javi specifically with world building.
Yeah,
Good
I've
God, your world
way too
building is
long.
amazing.
I've had
I
way
wanted
too
to
long
not
to
talk
talk about all
about
this
game
shit.
design and what makes, in your opinion, a good game depending on what you know of game design.
Can we talk about what makes a really bad game? Because I feel like that's going to be more fun.
Yes, we also
That's gonna
need
be
to talk
easier
about
too.
that. All right,
All right,
let's
first up to bat, Todd Howard is a voice actor in a Bethesda game.
Oh,
who?
let me tell you. Okay,
Todd Howard
before
actually
anything else,
voiced
I want to say this.
in one of the Elder Scrolls games.
I don't know who Todd
Which
Howard
one?
is.
I don't know. It was either Morrowind or Oblivion.
Okay, I think it was Oblivion because I know Todd Howard's voice.
Todd Howard is, to put it simple, he's kind of known as the Bethesda guy. He's the face.
He's the face of Bethesda.
I'm
So
gonna go
his
ahead and look
Let
voice.
this
me
up.
fetch
Let
a
me tell
picture
you
of him
though.
for the Discord.
Oh,
Let me
okay,
tell
that'll
you,
be
his
easier.
voice though is like sandpaper on the ears.
Beautiful.
I hate the sound of his voice. And now
My
maybe
point
other
was
people.
like
I'm
you
sorry
could
to
tell
talk.
he was just reading lines.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh,
cringy. Like it's like so. The only thing I can describe it as is
Hi,
like
Todd
you
Howard.
remember so you know how like when
Okay,
you're a kid, right?
rectum check.
When you're a kid and you
like
have
a
to
kid in a school
your
play.
friends. No, let me finish. So you know how like maybe I was the only one who experienced this because I had a very sad childhood with no friends. I mean, I had a few, but not a lot.
I can
Obviously
guarantee
because I'm
whatever
good at
you're
art.
about to say probably applies to me.
No,
Probably
well,
applies
we'll
to my
see.
early life.
So probably. So if you were poor and desperate like me, and your
Mhm.
parents forced you out of your house and dragged the random neighborhood kid to your door and forced you guys to be friends, you know how like you'd have that really awkward, weird conversation where find out you guys have nothing in common, but your parent is like standing over you, like become social, and
Boop,
that's how I feel
right?
like Todd Howard. And yeah, literally, that's how I feel like Todd Howard acts, like voice acts. Like I feel like literally, it's like Bethesda's hanging over him, like speak.
Like interact with people, do
I
things.
I
You
think
must
it was
leave the
Oblivion.
office every hour.
I think it was Oblivion that had a lot of issues where like several of the voice actors literally like were just you could tell they were just reading lines off of a script, and I
No,
think some of
yeah,
them
no, that was
actually like said
terrible.
parts of the script you're not even supposed to say, like the shit that's in parentheses.
Yes, like
Or like I
pulling
think there's one
slowly
that
at
is
you.
in the game where it's like, can we do that over? Can we do another take?
Yeah, no, like
I
so. Let me
think
tell
there's
you,
one where that
actually.
actually made it into the cut for the final
Oh my
game.
god, now I want to find it. But yeah, so like I love Oblivion. I love it. But here's the thing. There was after I heard Todd Howard's voice, I was like, who the heck is this guy? And this is before internet. So all I could do was figure out by reading like the credits, you know? Because I was like that desperate to find out who this terrible voice
Skimming through
actor
the
was. Because
credits to
now
find Todd Howard to shame him.
exactly. And I just remember as a small child reading the credits because I'm like, I need to find out who this voice actor is because he's
This dude
shit
was
and I
so
want to
bad.
hear him.
Where is
No,
he?
no, no. And it's even better because it's like he's terrible shit. Now I want to hear him in other projects. So now I'm determined to find him in other video games. So like
No,
If
so
all
he's
my life
equally as
I've
bad at other things.
exactly like I don't
I
like
actually
it's a sick sadistic part of me.
actually have to say, since we are on the subject of Oblivion, um, one of my one of the voice actors that I actually know personally, and this is tying into me being a quote unquote expert on voice acting, is a Bethesda known voice actor who did work in Oblivion, notably the Oblivion Guards,
Oh, love it.
and that is Wes Johnson. Uh,
Oh my
every
god.
every year, I typically go to the convention MagFest, Music and Gaming Festival, and he is a frequent attendee guest there, and lovely, lovely person. Um, and
I
so are all
believe
the
it.
other VAs that go there because it's not just him. A bunch of VAs go there, but they actually know me from all the times that I've been, and we've had some wonderful conversations, and they've given me a lot of inspiration.
You know what?
Yeah, but
I'm trying to think.
go ahead.
Would this be a good time to tell them about the Claptrap signing the rapper story?
Oh
Right.
yes,
Oh no.
yes, Jim. I will bring up. Okay, so to clarify, there are multiple voice actors who have done the voice of Claptrap.
As
Most
we know,
notably,
yes.
yes. In this instance, it was Jim Ferranda who did the voice of Claptrap in Borderlands 3.
Uh-huh.
Jim Ferranda also did some work for, I believe, Hasbro on their Transformers commercials and some of their other
Oh my
commercials as
god.
well. And he did a panel on that at that year of Magfest, and I had attended that panel and spoke to him some during that panel, and so that kind of built some recognition for him in me. Uh, and
Mhm.
there is typically a autograph section where you can get autographs from the various guests, including the voice actors. Um,
Mhm.
and I went through that year multiple times because I wanted a few extra things, and there was availability. But so I had just gotten some money because I ran out of money, and I
Mhm.
wanted to get a print from John Patrick Lowry and Ellen McLean, who are GLaDOS from Portal and the Sniper from TF2. Not in that order because I said the voices and characters backwards. But um, Jim
They're
Ferranda
also
was
married,
also
right?
at this, and as I was waiting in line to get that print, I was sitting there with a a cheeseburger that I had bought because bought, I got the money by saying I needed food, bought a cheap burger, and then went and used the rest of the money for the print, like the crafty little man I am. And as I'm sitting there, uh, he I'm just standing there waiting, making some small talk with them, in him in specific as well. Um, and he just sees me holding the burger, and he's like, "Yo, I should sign that burger." It'd be funny if I signed that burger.
No.
Do you want me to sign the burger? And I was like, this is great. However, I do intend on eating this burger. So he made a
Yeah, don't
compromise and had him
ingest
sign the
Sharpie.
wrapper of the burger. And I did, in fact, wash out the wrapper and still have the wrapper. Now, the part where this gets funnier is in Borderlands 3, there is a weapon that is a rocket launcher, I believe, that shoots burgers. So he signed it in reference to that, and it was a wonderful experience. And he even posted it to his Twitter.
That's fucking great.
Oh my god, I'm done.
But
Yeah,
so
I'm go ahead, sorry.
there's also a panel where a bunch of the voice actors that are in attendance that year do a panel where basically the crowd comes up with a concept for a video game, including like characters, the character voices, the setting, the title, all that, and then the voice actors kind of like improv you know interactions of this video game with what we come up with. And while we were saying things,
Oh
um,
shit!
I remember I had mentioned Jim Ferranda did a panel where he discussed that he did Transformers commercials for Hasbro. In one of them, he actually had to voice Optimus Prime for the commercial,
I didn't know that.
and
Hmm.
it was just for the commercial. He never actually voiced him in anything official other than like a commercial.
Yeah, but
But
still.
at this
That's
panel,
still a cool thing to
as we're
say. Like,
shouting
hey,
out our
I
voices, I get real loud and boisterous, and I'm like, Jim Ferranda has Optimus Prime! And he heard me and looked around because he knew that was someone who had seen that panel.
Hmm.
And he, when I went for the autographs later, he actually was like, "Wait, were you the guy who said that?"
It's like, was that you?
No comment.
That was
No
that
comment.
was great. Um, I also I have to say, relating to Wes Johnson, one of the names of a character Wes Johnson has played in a movie, who has also been a recurring character for this type of event, and that is, and forgive me, this is some particular wording, but it is the official name of the character from this movie, A Dirty Shame, Fat Fuck Frank. The
I'll
actual
allow it.
official name of his character that he played, Fat Fuck Frank.
Damn fat fuck, Frank.
All
Oh,
right,
I should not
let's.
say the F word.
Yeah, yeah, you're banned. You're banned.
I think at this
Jesus.
point we're
Yay.
done. Like we're screwed on that.
It's a shame that we have to remove you for saying it too many times.
Dang.
I'm sorry, Suze. You're gonna
I'm
get
fine
canceled.
though.
Alright, goodbye.
I'm
It's
sorry.
okay, Jebus. If anybody's gotta go, it's gotta be me, man. Come on.
Jebus, I'm sorry, but you are the weakest link.
Yeah, I am the
You
weakest.
are the
Nah,
weakest link. Goodbye.
Samarra, you're too old to be left to be getting rid of.
Uh,
Trust your
am I just
dinosaurs.
gonna die
I'm
like
too
Luke Geller?
important to be gotten
Yeah.
rid of. It has to be him. Oh, we're sending him out to pasture now, are we?
Yeah, let's just send him out to
I call
die.
dibs.
Look at the flowers, Jebus.
Okay,
So-
the flowers, Jebus.
Flowers.
Look at these
Stare at the sun.
tulips, mandigo, like these tulips, violets,
Alright.
roses.
Jesus, I want you to.
This is a nightmare. All of us just spinning around, power washing a motorcycle.
Jesus, I want you to meet my friend. He will help bring you to paradise. He is a nice, calm man by the name of Anton Chigurh.
Mm-hmm.
I heard no
Seems
reactions
nice.
from anyone. Does anyone know who that is?
Not off the top of my
No.
head.
Have you seen No Country for Old Men?
I haven't,
Oh,
but I've been meaning to.
He is the guy who kills everyone. The psychopath. Anton
Just a
Chigurh.
circle of men spinning around a motorcycle.
You like that?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Yes, I do. So, yeah,
Why is this
Okay,
so
I have a
sexual?
request for this next job. Only use the red nozzle.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Guys, remember you can't cross the streams.
Oh, you like my red nozzle all over your windows?
Hell no. I'm
Womp,
not.
womp,
No.
womp,
You're so
womp.
I'm really tired right now. I'm
Jebus,
willing to say anything.
cover your ears,
He
Jebus.
is-
You're not
He
ready
is
to hear this
mentally the
call.
most baby of us on this podcast.
I
Yes.
protect Jebus with my life. He is like my child. I will kill you all before I hurt Jebus.
So
You're
basically,
not Jebus, you're protected.
so
Okay.
since Jebus
You
is your
can't kill me. I'm
child,
already dead.
hold on. I want to make a joke here. Samara, since you have
No.
adopted Jebus as your child, does that at least technically?
No, no,
I knew exactly where you're going with that. Just like, let me stop you right there.
Javi, do
Hey,
you,
hey,
do you know?
chat. I
I know
hereby make a
exactly where you're
formal
going with that.
invitation. If any of you die as a result of listening to this podcast, we are not legally responsible, but you are more than willing to come join me in my crypt in my ever-growing army.
Oh my
And
god!
this is not
I'm
this
not
is
even
not
gonna-
just an invitation. I own your skeleton. It's more of a volunteer yourself.
So, Javi, do you know where I was gonna go with that?
Exactly where you're going
We
with
all know
that.
where you were going with that,
Yes.
except maybe Jeebus.
Why do you think I didn't let you finish? Oh my god!
it's
You know
confirmed.
that he's gonna make jokes about everyone throughout the duration of this podcast.
Okay,
I
so
hate you.
that actually reminds me. I'm gonna tangent off again before I jump from Crème to Jesus on what
Wait,
we
before
look
you do
for.
that,
What
you need to
what's
explain why I won't let them finish. Because otherwise, they're gonna be like, "Why is she screaming?" No, it's the computer.
I mean, or we could not
Okay.
explain because the joke will return.
That's
know it
true.
will.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead
Will
and
it?
quickly say it right
I'm
now,
totally
right
lost
here.
because I wasn't paying attention.
Since Samarra is the oldest among us, she has
Among
jokingly
Us.
given herself a title, that which I keep calling her. And since she called herself, since she said that she has adopted Jebus, Jesus here, it is only more formally confirming that she is in fact a MILF.
Oh.
Um, I
That oh sounded a
uh,
little bit too sensual there, my boy.
Um.
He really just grabbed the mic and went,
Oh.
I just so fucking.
Oh,
He was like, "Mom, what's a MILF?"
damn it! Why did you? I had like a specific response to that, where a kid asks his mom, says his mom, "Mom, my friends at school are calling you a MILF. What's that?" A fact.
oh, fuck.
So I did want to.
You know now that one of the episodes of this is just gonna have to be about like what we're into.
It's gonna have to be, but right
God
now
damn it,
we're talking
Louise. It
about
doesn't
video
need to be
games.
soon, but it will need to
I'm
happen,
gonna go
and
ahead and
BDG
tell that
just doesn't
story
come to that
later,
one.
but okay, I'm gonna tell the story now. Just to get out of the way because I want to tell you guys. I was at work talking to our host Angel, and he was talking to me about like barbacoa at one point, and how
Oh,
like with barbacoa it's made out of whatever was
Tongue
left
and eyeball.
since tongue and cheek actually, and that
Cheek
is
and
a
eyeball.
part of the joke
tongue
where
and
he
neck.
says
No,
that
I'm sorry.
he can tell the difference between the barbacoa made out of tongue and barbacoa made out of cheek, because cheek is more uh, tongue is more juicier and
Mm.
more chewy than cheek. And he said that if you go to a place that sells barbacoa and you can specifically ask for cheek and no tongue, I kind of gave him that look where I'm like, hmm. And so that just
Interesting.
further proves that I absolutely will make a joke about everything. If you give me the opportunity, I will. It is
Okay,
law.
Just
viewers
like
ignore
I,
him.
I
I am.
yeah, ow, go ahead.
So go on.
Whew.
I was gonna say just I'm not a MILF. Okay, I'm not even the age to be.
You're
That is
getting
all I
there,
will say.
Debatable.
but
Oh, how
but
dare
okay. On a technical level, I knew a
My
person that
sister's
had a
22
child
already
in
has a
high
kid.
school,
I know
so
several
they are in
persons.
fact a mother.
My
Okay, but
cousin
I don't even have
is
children. Besides
13 and
maybe
has a
Jeebus,
kid.
but that's because he's like my kid brother in the chat.
Let me get in the cart.
Innocent. He doesn't.
There we go.
What the frick? Oh, y'all are just posing
He's
down. I
being
see.
a child.
He is being a child. He's not even like
Onward.
just.
He is embracing his role.
Oh my god,
Now we got to clean the body and the chassis.
oh.
Okay, so we've talked about what bad thing from some Samarra, was it Samarra or Crème that brought up Todd Howard?
We talked
I
about
brought
Todd
up Todd
Howard. So yeah,
Howard.
we were talking about one bad thing so far.
Yeah, and but who brought it up? Did Samarra bring it up or did Crème?
I brought up
No,
Todd Howard
Okay,
specifically.
so
he brought up
Crème
Todd
did that.
Howard.
Uh, Jesus, what do you think? What aspects of video game do you think drag it down? Can we clean the Mars rover now?
Mhm.
I'm
Drag
gonna
it
see if we
down.
can.
It's in the
Yeah, no, I know. I wasn't. I'm not sure if it will let us just directly go over.
yeah. It's a
I
one
was
to
Oh,
a
it's
six
very
actually
point thing.
gonna force us to use a specific thing apparently.
Oh, okay.
I was a
So
very dyslexic boy when I was very young, and there's most of the games I get from MPS were very text based, and I wish I would have finished.
I'll
um,
start the job and invite you guys.
I already started it.
I hate you.
It just
So you
didn't bring
hate
you guys.
games. So Jeebus, you hate games that have too much text, or
yeah, yeah. I used to hate them. Yeah, when I was young, because I'm like I can't go through this level, and I need to read the text, but I don't. I just want to play the game, you know. I
nah?
don't
I
know.
got
I
you.
oh, I will say on the note of
All right,
text-based
invite
games,
us.
Fallout, the Fallout games are games I love. in particular, like New Vegas and I can't. It won't let me invite.
Yeah,
Oh,
Crème,
I need to turn.
you
I
were
need
not
to
wrong.
turn.
The double turrets are really good.
Ah, um,
Okay,
but as I was
there we go.
trying to say, the Fallout games, specifically like New Vegas and 3, are games I really enjoyed that are RPGs and have a lot of text because
All
you
right,
have to read
Jebus, join
everything you say.
us. So yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, so after that, so Jesus doesn't like games that have a lot of text. I can actually understand that, as games that have a lot of text, all that extra text can bog the game down if none of it is useful.
Yeah,
Fair.
I will have to agree with that.
Like I love all the Destiny text, but I don't read most of it. Just
Oh no,
the
yeah.
important stuff.
So you would not like visual novels, is what
Uh,
you're saying.
What kind of visual novels?
guys,
What?
Any?
look at the ground.
It's dirty.
Yeah. Did you not come over here?
Oh, did you walk across? Is that why?
We
Are
don't
those
No,
your
leave
there's a
footprints.
secret hatch where there's aliens.
Uh, uh,
There's actually, I
We're gonna
believe, an
see my
achievement for
relatives.
power washing that.
get out of there!
My relatives. We're here. This is actually Texas, if you didn't know.
Jebus, you
Yeah, we're
gotta
in
be
Texas.
careful, man. They don't know, okay? Okay? The FBI
Oh,
does
I'm
watch
sorry.
YouTube.
I mean, not get them out of my country. Get the fuck out.
Shit.
Better, but
Okay,
bad for its own
You're
reason.
getting
on an
closer.
actual note,
Get your green card,
we
Make
man.
sure
are
you're
not
holding a beer
we
while
are
you're
not
saying it.
affiliated with any political views relating to that type of stuff. That's not what this is
No,
about.
that
Any and
was just a
everything
really
that we
funny
say
thing.
involving politics is nothing more than a joke. We are not professionals on the matter, nor should we be treated as such.
Yes,
I have
we just
never been
I
make
one.
agree.
funny things
I
because
I
it's
agree.
satirical.
I
And I
agree.
do not, and we are not like
We
sponsored
do
by
not
or
endorse
endorse
anybody's
anything involving.
political views. We're just satire.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Please
exactly.
do not hurt us.
Do not take
I
us
don't care if you
seriously.
hurt me. I care
anything that
about
we
misinterpreting what I say.
no, yeah,
Please,
anything that we
please.
say involving politics is not to be taken seriously, as we are not the kind of people you should go to for such information.
Who,
Anything we
No, because we
say
can
can
barely
and will
figure
be
out our
used
own
as a shit
personal
post.
politics.
which
Okay.
president will you slowly make out with?
Okay. So I guess
Abraham.
the next
I'm really
episode
tired
of
now.
Podwash Powercast is gonna be politics.
No.
Oh God, we will die.
See how fast we get banned.
I'll probably be the only one
Oh
in
man,
Oh no,
semi-qualified
he
about anything in
specifically
here.
means we're talking about Metal Gear
I'm
Rising
pretty sure
Revengeance, which
all of
has a
y'all
lot
would
of
hate me
politics
if
in
you
it.
heard my political views, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth quiet.
So
I think Abraham Lincoln will give a juicy kiss.
All right, my political
God.
views. Senator Armstrong is a very realistic interpretation of the United States senator.
From Metal Gear.
Homelander
Yes.
is
Oh, that's
your
SpongeBob-ish.
typical politician. Boom.
Yes.
Homelander makes a
What
very
is
good
that?
politician only because he already fits the bill.
What is this
And he
thing
has
I'm
no
shooting at?
idea what he's doing and panics the moment he has control.
Exactly. Already fits the bill.
Exactly.
Nick, what is this flying thing that I'm chasing?
Oh, I
It's a
think this is
drone.
another drone.
Can I not shoot it down?
No.
No.
I'm
All
gonna
right, so we
try.
were talking about
Wow,
things we hate in video games
I can't
before we
believe
got
the
into
boy is a
politics.
terrorist.
Oh yeah, we're talking about video games. Yeah, I don't like space. Who's next?
Uh,
Let's go ahead
I,
and call Javi.
oh
What
shit.
things do you
Okay.
think bog down a video game?
I think when they try to focus too much on things like graphics or like if they focus too much on trying to integrate the story into everything and then miss out on the gameplay mechanics, because the biggest problem is that if the game isn't fun, yeah, it can have a great story and it can have like it could have amazing graphics and it can still be bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you need to
Mobile
have
games.
Yeah,
a delicate balance of gameplay, fun, and story.
yeah.
Yeah, I get
Well, I
that.
think if
One of
if
the
the
things
gameplay
that
mechanics are like are thought out well, and in some games the story doesn't matter. I think regardless of whether or not a game is going to be story focused or not, they need to make sure that it's fun to play for some target
Amen.
audience. Doesn't have to be for everybody, and I don't expect it to be for everybody, but it at least has to be fun for somebody. You know?
I
I
think
actually have to
Amen.
bring up on that note the amount of erotic games on Steam in particular
oh boy.
that are just like
Oh, okay.
memory
Okay,
games
do
or
not
like
touch my
matching
honey pop.
games.
Let me tell you right
No,
now.
no, no. I'm not touching Honey Pop specifically. Honey Pop is a
We'll
good
fight to the
example.
death for
No,
honey
no,
pop.
it is a,
I don't know
in my
why.
opinion.
It's a stupid game, but I
Hold,
love.
hold,
Who's the
hold
girl with
on,
the blue hair? She
hold
really
on.
turned me on.
Oh
In
god.
my opinion, that is a good example. But the
Oh,
number of ones that are just like shitty, cheaply veiled games that they're charging you money that they don't deserve for
Yeah.
honestly, let's be real, subpar art and a
Yes.
like minimalistic gimmick for their game that's just like the world's cheapest knockoff of Bejeweled. Like they're
marketing
overcharging
my
you
honey pop, and I need you to
for cheap
stop.
Bejeweled
Knockoff.
with bad art.
well, yeah. Here's the thing. Honey Pop, I think, does it well in the sense that
Honey
yeah,
Pop does a good example of it because it's not just basic. They add mechanics to it, and the rest of the game is it also has like visual novel components. It's not just hey, do this, get skimpy picture as reward.
You have to actually
There's
like figure out
actually
what
like
they
dating
like and
sim
their interests
visual
of the game.
novel aspects to it.
yeah. There's
It is
different.
a
What's
very
a
horny
hazard
game
game?
in terms of like how it goes. It was made for Coomers, but
It knows
it's
exactly what
made
type
well.
of target audience it was going
It
for.
knows their audience, but
Yeah,
it's made well.
me.
And I literally wanted to play it because
Sadako,
my
not
cousin was
just you.
playing it.
Yeah,
It's
me
pretty great.
too.
Okay, listen here.
And
Listen here.
confirm, it's pretty good.
It is okay. First of all, let me just say this right now. Just gonna say it. If it wasn't obvious, I go both ways. Does that make me a bad person? No. But let me tell you right now, Honey Pop is hilarious, and I mostly did it for the completionist because I was like, yes, I want to collect all the panties.
Was I searching
The fairy,
uncensored honey
the
pop
fairy was
on
Jesus,
probably yeah.
YouTube
Jesus,
in middle school?
Jesus,
No.
Jesus.
Yes.
Jump on Crumb's head. Graham, I need you to say so.
I love how
What?
in the
Don't stand on
game
my head. I've got
you
the
have to
sliding thing.
how do I word this that way by being content friendly? Um,
You don't.
after
No.
you've completed a majority of the game or enough of it to get the equivalent of like a secret character.
Stand up. I don't think we
I
can
Yeah.
stand
can't
up.
uncrouch.
Yeah.
I can't
After
uncrouch.
you after
Jump,
you've
jump,
collected
Jesus, jump,
items
jump,
Okay.
after from each individual
jump,
Shit, it
character in
won't
the
let me
game,
jump.
then you're able to just summon
Jump.
jump.
effectively a god. I think that part
There
was
you go.
hilarious.
Oh my god.
We
And
did
then
it.
the second one was
Yes.
even funnier because it's like then you got a double date.
What
And
are we
oh my
missing?
god, let me tell you, that was like one of the hardest games I've ever
I
played
I
because I would like
actually have
make one of them
never
super happy. Oh, it was
I
awful.
actually have not played the second one, but I've played the first
Oh
one.
my god, it's so much fun.
I
It's
have
so
wanted to
hard.
try it.
Let me tell you, it is so difficult. Okay, so I'm gonna explain to you exactly what it is. You ready for
Who was
this?
the girl with the red hair and
Trickles.
was mean as
Right here?
hell? Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the second one?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, she's the one who does porn. What's
If
her name?
if I remember right, there was a character who was just straight up a Draenei from like World
Uh-huh.
of
Trainer.
Warcraft.
I think so.
Yep. Yeah, the blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That she's an alien.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that.
So ever since I turned on the co-op, I can't actually interact with like my tablet
Hey guys,
That's
so
weird.
speaking of, I'm gonna
because I
post when
think
we
you
play it.
joined like the second I did it, and that like bugged
What
it
was
for
it,
some reason.
Samar?
Oh, I'm gonna post. So you know how I mean, we've already been saying it, but yeah. So I'm gonna post my next character I just finished in the chat, and then I'm gonna work on your commission next game.
Awesome.
How you go to the
I'm
wheel
I'm
hub?
gonna post it in the chat.
I have no idea.
I
Okay,
am
I was
posting it in
somebody
the
just
art
mark
chat.
it in your tablet. I can't do it because my tablet isn't working.
Did it?
If you click on if you click on an item in the list,
It'll start glowing it.
it'll highlight it. Yeah.
I did.
Here,
Ooh.
I'll highlight it.
So Crème said.
How about I
Uh,
just highlight it?
Crème said. Tom Howard or Todd Howard.
Todd Howard. But my
Yeah,
point
Todd
was
Howard.
more just in general, like poor voice acting. It is bad. Hire
Yeah.
professional voice actors that do a good job.
Like
And
me.
you know, that's not me saying don't hire someone who's new, but you know, they're called talent for a reason. Get someone who shows
That's
the
rough.
promise of talent.
Like me.
That's rough.
I would agree.
Hurtful. Words hurt.
Like not me.
I'm not saying anything to any of you. I'm saying don't bring one of the business executives from Bethesda to do a voice in your game
Nick is just
if
trying to
they're
say
not a
he's
voice
hiring.
actor.
Don't stand
like,
over him like an
sure.
awkward parent trying to force your child to be loved.
Sure, it is cool to have, you know,
All the
somebody
voice
big in the
actors should
company
just be
be a
Crème.
character
Clones of
and
Crème.
have them voice.
Crème.
What? What,
Nothing.
Jebus?
Nothing. I said,
What-
I love you.
No, he did not.
What did you actually
Okay,
say?
but okay.
I said I love you and I want your babies.
Jebus, say what you
Whoever
actually
told you
said, or
about
I'm booting you out of
lying.
the call. I exert
Oh.
this I exert my holy power. Say what you
think
said, or I
that-
boot you.
I was gonna say
okay.
if you were gonna say you're exerting your dominance, I'm afraid I already took
It's
all
not
of that
dominance.
giant
I was
power
trying to
dominance.
say divine power. That's the word.
Yeah,
divine.
I
no.
said,
Oh, I can tell you.
Crème, you should just be all the voice actors.
That is not what you said either.
I actually, when
I don't actually remember now.
whether or
think
not that was what you said,
I
I
heard-
actually nearly did do that for a project I was on, where we were gonna try and make a visual novel. We didn't have anyone else to do voices, so I said I would try and do them all.
I think that was the premise I was going for. I can't remember now.
Sounds like something you were trying to say.
I am
Yeah.
not a professional, but I do have experience non-professionally, and
Okay.
have been coached by some of the professionals I mentioned before.
Why doesn't the setting let you change your controls? I want to see what the button is for.
So again, voice acting. Don't hire bad voice actors. Hire someone who's good. We have not too much text that bogs down the game. And Javi, expand on that with don't hyper focus on graphics or any one thing. You need a good balance of everything. If you can
Like-
have amazing graphics and not ruin anything else, do it. But don't bring one thing down just to highlight something else.
Well, like here's the other thing to think about. A lot of my favorite games that I've played are games that graphic wise are nothing really like incredible to look at. Like
There's
yeah,
nothing to write home about.
they're not yeah, or even then like or it's art style. Or it's usually going in some other kind of art style. It's not like these crazy like hyper realistic graphics or anything. Like when you look at
I'm
it,
pressing every button. I don't know what it
like
did.
for example, some of my favorite games, like I'm gonna say Hollow Knight again as an example. That that game is in terms of
Art is
like
not that great. It's
in
pretty
terms
simplistic.
yeah, it's very simplistic in its design. And when you look at that and you like you see like compare that to I'm gonna throw some shade and keep in mind I have nothing against this franchise. It's just not for me.
Throw the shade.
Dude, I will hurt you if it's my shame over to my
No, no, no.
franchise. So
I was gonna say
choose
COD is dangerously overrated.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, God.
Yeah.
No, it is.
I think it's drastically overrated. It is not for me. I played a couple games, and to me, I think it's felt too repetitive. Like every game just feels like a reskinned version of the other, and I think it hasn't had any real like groundbreaking changes since
I
Black
found the
Ops 2.
wheel hub, I think. What's the wheel hub again?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I'm pressing 1.
I can't
and I
even
think that's the
find
wheel.
it because I can't interact with the fucking menu.
But yeah, basically,
Yeah.
like
I can't even change
COD
what
games-
job we're on.
Oh god, the COD games focus so much on like the graphics and
I'll
how
host the
well
games from
everything
now on.
looks, and it's like all
No,
of them
it's
just feel
just
like
when you
reskins.
joined, it broke.
Oh god.
I'm gonna close my game.
All right,
it-
fair enough.
it
Go
feels
on,
a lot
Javi.
like they're just reskins of the other games that have been around for God knows how long. And I think that is a bitter shame because like you could do some pretty cool stuff with it. I think that and this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I think like this is going to be again, okay, like
Be the controversial.
Infinite Warfare
Become
had
the
some cool
controversy.
concepts and they didn't work more on it, and that made it suck.
Mhm.
I liked a lot of the concepts that Infinite Warfare or like games like it were trying to do, but
Mhm.
they didn't lean more into that, you know? It was only a
Mhm.
part of it. And I think they could have been at least a better game by being something at least slightly different. And
Yeah.
No, I know
kind of
what you
became
mean.
it just kind of became more of the same old.
On that note, I actually
I,
do have something to say about COD in specific that is a negative, and you did kind of get into it, which is they had a formula that, for the most part, worked. Sure, their games did sometimes feel very copy and paste, but their formula worked pretty well until they started deciding to go futuristic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when they lost a lot of people.
I think it's also
They
because
started
their
going too
formula doesn't
far, too
fit that
fast,
setting.
and lost a lot of their draw. And as soon as they started going back to the games that had a more like actual things that have happened feel, people got interested again.
Yeah. But
right.
like and even then some of the other things that like I think COD has also been trying to copy other games so much to the point where they kind of maintain relevancy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Go ahead and
let's
join
just
my
be
game,
honest.
guys.
Let's let's
Warframe.
let's just be honest. COD now, like with their whole battle royale thing they had, that's literally just so they can have a contender in the battle royale craze,
Yeah.
which I don't think COD was ever meant to be anywhere along those lines. It's never fit like that for me.
Can we do the train? I
That's
don't know
actually
which
what
one
I'm
you're asking.
doing.
Okay.
The train.
But yeah.
I already
Um,
started.
Jeebus,
So
did you mention Warframe
I
just
just
now?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I love Warframe. It's just it makes you work for all your characters, and it's getting
Oh,
me
yeah, it's
tired.
a grindy game. Which by the way,
Very
it should be
You have to
cross-platform
turn
now.
on the you have to turn on the co-op.
Yeah. Uh,
by the
which
way,
by
if
the way,
y'all look in the art,
done.
Jeebus, Warframe
Yeah.
is going to be starting its cross-play beta pretty soon.
Mm.
And once that's done, it'll have cross-save and cross-play, which means I'll be able to transfer all my stuff.
Yay.
I can invite you guys to the dojo I have, which will make your grinding for Warframes a lot easier.
Yes, I can
And
finally get all the weapons I
and
want.
I also would like to show off my new Warframe
Hell yeah.
since I
Which one did you
finally
get?
got one.
Which one?
Nidus.
Ooh, dude, Nidus is so fun.
I am a super tinky, but
Also, it's hard for you to die once you get enough stacks as Nidus.
I was
yes, it
trying to
is.
grind for the Ash. Is that what the person's called?
Which one is it? The ninja with the smoke?
No.
We're getting
It's
distracted again, my friends.
probably Ember. Is that what her
Yeah,
true name
let's
is?
get back to the
If it's a female
subject at
Warframe, it's
hand.
probably Ember.
Let
Let's
hey
get
hey,
back to the
let's get
subject.
back to
Yeah,
the
we'll get back
subject
to the
at
subject.
hand.
Sorry.
We can talk Warframe later.
So again, there was things that bogged down the game, set in two different formats. We had bad voice acting. Samarra, what do you think bogs down a game? What do you think brings down a game?
I have a lot of opinions. First of all, before we do anything, did you guys look in the character art? Because I really worked fucking hard.
I
Got
saw
into
it. Looks
Yes,
detail with the
I love it.
characters. Did you like her?
it looks nice. She looks nice.
Thank you. So yeah, she's also like, yeah, she's also the smallest character in the game. So yeah,
She's the
got that.
smallest, and
But
she's abs
I was to say she's
yeah,
jacked.
Smallest on a physical scale of like height. I
height.
don't think
Yes,
it means musculature.
yes, that's
no,
exactly
no,
what we were saying.
she'll break you. You may also romance her if you would like, but hey,
If that was the smallest
Watch.
musculature, every man would be full bara, and that would be great.
no, she's actually an assassin. That's the reason why she's very ripped.
I was gonna say so like I said, tread at your own risk.
Highly
Yes,
muscles.
exactly. Also, she is bisexual. That is the point of a character to make it. If you're gonna make a character look like it can go both ways, I would prefer if you make that character look like they go both ways. Anyway, but the point.
On that mark, though, you don't have to look any particular way just because of your sexuality, though.
Oh yeah.
No,
No.
but I wanted her to be. She's literally chaos. That's the point of the character. When I created her, I was like, I want a character that screams chaos. Nothing screams chaos like a mage who has the ability to turn her tattoos into weapons.
She has a
It's actually kind
tattoo
of cool.
on her
Nothing
on
screams
her.
chaos like Obama saying chaos control.
Exactly. Exactly. Anyway, yeah. So that was the character. I finished one more. So now I'm gonna work on Cayde. But yeah. So sorry if you weren't in the YouTube. We'll post it later. Maybe if you want to
Yeah.
see my character every day that I'll redo this episode. I'm
Her
posting my
quote is
my
Nah,
"Give
it
it to me."
stays
drawing.
private.
Stays private.
What's in the Discord stays in the Discord.
So I will
Okay.
go ahead and
If
link.
you want to see the art, ladies and gentlemen, and anybody else in
Go
the
to the
chat,
Twitter. Go to
get
the
the
Twitter.
game when it eventually releases.
Yes, when it eventually releases. Yes, go to the Twitter or the Instagram or whatever
Which
the
is
thing is.
never.
Yeah.
If you
So
guys want to see the art, I and also want to annoy all of my friends by exploding their notifications, I will link the invite to the Discord server in
No,
the
no,
description.
no,
I'll say maybe make a
no.
different Discord for
Yeah,
this.
a
I
different
if
Discord server,
anything,
yes. This one,
Yeah.
no. I
The
would
Discord
leave
I'm
if
not
you
in.
did
no,
that.
no, no, no.
Very
Fine.
useful.
There's too much darkness in this Discord to be
Okay,
This
fair.
I'll
Discord
make
is
a whole new
not
Discord if this
kosher for
becomes.
that.
It would actually give me so much anxiety.
I'll
Just
make a
Oh my
whole new
god, it would
Discord for
give
this.
me the same. Anyway, we were saying so things. Okay, so I'm gonna let me get some water because I'm about to.
She's about to
um,
rant.
She's about a
attempt
morb.
throat suicide.
Oh
She's
no, not
gonna
the morb.
morb.
I'm gonna morb.
It's morbin
Oh
time.
Okay,
no, not the morb.
It's morbin time.
okay. Stop that! Stop that! Stop that!
Oh, I
Stop that!
love Power Rangers.
Go go
Make
Power
me.
Rangers, you mighty Morbin
That is
Power
not where
Rangers.
Morbin time comes from. But anyway, that is
I
not
know.
what it is.
No, I know. I wanted to throw my own spin at it because I just
Mighty
love Power Rangers.
Morbin Power Ranger.
So,
I just
But
love Power
Samara,
Rangers.
your
let
thoughts?
me finish. Okay,
I'm the yellow
I'm going to
Asian.
say. I'm going to no. Shut up. Shut up. I'm going to say one thing and one thing only in one
Yes.
sentence. The one thing that pisses me off more than anything when I play a game. Well, two things, but I'll get into the second thing. The ending. The
Ending.
ending of the game is the most important part of a game. If you are going to end a game right, you want to you want to do it to a point. If you're not, if you know you're not going to make a sequel because the game is not good. Don't leave ambiguity at the end. Also, for instance, let me get on my soapbox here. One of my favorite games of all time is Mass Effect. I love Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Garrus is my space prince. Everyone can go die. I don't care. I love that insect boy. But the point is, I put in many years into Mass Effect. Many years, okay? I played 1, I played 2, I played 3. The entire time I played Mass Effect, every time they talked about it, they were like, the ending is tied to your decisions. The
No,
ending.
it isn't. Wasn't the ending
Let me
literally just
finish.
like three
Let me
different
shut up,
colors?
shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. I let you guys talk. Let me finish.
Let her finish.
The
Thank
ending is tied to your decisions. If you promise a storyline that is choice based, you keep at it. And I thought they would have done that because they kind of did that well with Dragon Age, where your decisions actually do impact the story. And certain things can and can't happen based off of that. And most of Mass Effect, they did a good job. But I think for them is that when it came to Mass Effect 3, they did not know how to end it. Or they were lazy. I think it's the later, honestly, because they they did A, B, and C, and then secretly D to fuck you in the ass. But the so let me if you've played Mass Effect 3, you understand my pain and you're probably crying along with me inside. So I'm going to spoil it a little bit. When you play Mass Effect 3, there's a whole thing. You have the option. There are these giant flying things called Reapers. You have the option to either turn everyone into synthetics, but sacrifice your own life. This basically turns everyone into a synthetic, and the Reapers no longer like attack or do anything, and the world just kind of stays the same, no change. The only thing is the shipper died, which is unfair. Second, is you can choose to sacrifice all of synthetic life. So, for instance, anything that is a robot in any chance, ED included, will die. There is nothing you can do. It is a set thing. Um, or, or you can be a total dick and shoot the little small child, digital boy, whatever, in the face, and then his
The
deep voice goes,
baby.
"So be it," and then basically everyone dies. Um, yeah. So anyway, I was let me. So when I first played Mass Effect 3, and I had to choose these endings, of course I saved my state so I could go and play the endings again. And I remember setting my controller down after I made the decision, each one, and I just remember thinking to myself, I put my hand, my head, my face literally in my hands, and I thought, this is it. This is all my hard work. This is my love. This is all of it. And I'm watching it crumble and die. And so whenever I do stories or and it doesn't even have to be a video game, but a story in general, you got to think about the ending. So most authors and game artists actually say they already have an ending in mind. For instance, one of my favorite manga of all time is One Piece. I love One Piece. Oda is a god who has literally foresaw the ending of One Piece. We are like in chapter 1000 of whatever, and he knows exactly how it's going to end. This story has been going on for over 20 years. The man knew when he finished writing the story exactly how it was going to end. He had an ending in mind. I hate it when games you can tell when they don't have an ending in mind and it just kind of ends. You feel nothing. Like everything you work towards and accomplish, it is nothing. You wanted to say something, Crab.
Like you want it to feel like it's worth something at the end.
Amen.
Like, yeah. Even if the game sucks and like, like you need to have good ending that makes the
Yeah, because then it's
person
like,
actually
what was
work
the
for the
point of the
ending.
story? What was the point of the story? Like it's like and then it's like you sit there and like I cried not because Mass Effect was over, but I felt unaccomplished. Like I felt like Shepard's story, like there was this whole which in the end could be seen as a tragedy, but or it could be seen as a ballad. You don't know, but it's this whole story of Shepard, and it's like everything that they do, and it's just like it. Even in like Mass Effect 2 is to this day one of my favorite games of all time. The thing is that it was like foreshadowing an ending. So it was like, okay, we're getting close. Like the third one's gonna end it, like wrap it up. And so even that, like kind of coming up with the idea of an ending or hinting at an ending is better than just we like you get three options. And then the other thing is like if the ending is super cliche, which is why I hate Sword Art Online. Like I wanted people to die, like
I
actually die and not
I'm
come back.
inclined to agree with you, actually. SAO was the first anime I ever watched, and I think it's very underwhelming.
Yeah,
Because
I
it
I
literally
have a
I
little
like
rant to
I
do
like
about that,
learning about
but
the game. I only like learning about the game.
I have a little rant about
it's just like
SAO, but we'll get into it later.
Yeah,
but the thing
that
is
can be
that like
saved for
every
anime episode.
yes, but the thing is that everyone deserves an ending, even if it's not a happy ending. Everyone deserves an ending. I think one of the games that had the best ending of all time, and I know a lot of people are either gonna agree or disagree. I love Persona 3 ending because I'm gonna spoil it. If you play it, awesome. If not, I'm gonna spoil it. I'm sorry. But you in
Pretty
the
sure I've
end the
already
main
played it, so I should be
character,
fine.
it's a very good game. I recommend anyone to play it, but it's a very good game. Literally the beginning of the game, it tells you you are going to die. It literally says this term memento mori. So in the game, you are hinted at that your character is going to die at some point. Okay? That means that no matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you like what choices you make, your character is going to die, which is honestly it's good because it's like it makes it feel like every time that the days that you spend in the game are important because every day of your life in this game is important because everyone dies at some point, so it makes the time more valuable, so to speak, you know what I mean? And so even at the end of Persona 3, when the character literally is on the roof and your whatever person you romance comes and stays with you in the last 5 seconds of your life, and it's like you did a good job because you saved the world at the cost of your own life. But it ends in such a bittersweet, sour note, but it hits you because you're like, yeah, life is precious. Every day is precious. We need to learn to live like that. And I love that game specifically for that reason because I cried my eyes out because I was like, you know what? Life is important and we need to go out there and live it. Whereas with Mass Effect 3, I was crying for a completely different reason. I was crying because I was like, oh my god, I
Like,
can't handle
So,
this.
that's it.
can may I make a comment on what you're talking about?
Mhm.
So I do have my own segment on video game endings, but there is something very important that you brought up that I actually can relate to. So I have not played the Persona games. I have not played a single one of them.
You
Neither
should
have
Not
play
I.
them.
played or watched
I
the
know I
anime.
should, I just haven't yet.
They're coming out on the
But
Switch. You should play them. There is no
but
excuse. Persona 3, 4,
but
and 5 is coming out on the Switch. You have no excuse.
so
Everyone should play the Persona series.
you you
Slow
mentioned
down, slow down.
Memento Mori and knowing that death is coming, but that means that you should enjoy life all the more while you have it. Now, that
Which
means
is
a
the
lot to
message in
me
Persona.
of Unus Annus, which their catchphrase or their phrase was Memento Mori, and they made the channel with 1 year until its deletion. It was a set date. They knew, we knew, everyone knew. When that year was up, the channel and everything on it would be gone.
hmm
And that I watched all of it. I was there for all of it. And like you did with Persona, I cried at the end. When it was over, I knew it would be over. And I was there when it ended, and I cried. It,
But
but
that's
I
the
was
point. Is it's
so
supposed to
glad to
make
have
you
been a part
feel?
of it, and yeah, that's something that I feel is very important. Is you need that applies to endings too. Is there needs to be an emotional connection,
And also a
whether it
level
be
of investment
the
too.
payoff or the sadness. There needs to be some emotional connection, and
Well, and yeah,
some
it's like it.
like
Go
with
ahead.
Unus Honest, there was a greater lesson and emotional, benefit to it.
I didn't watch it.
And the same applies to Persona 3's ending.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just one of those games, and it's the reason why it's like one of my favorite games, and it's the only reason I kept my PS Vita. Literally, it's just so I can play that game because the only way you can play that game is on either a PSP or playing it on a
Emulator.
what's it called,
So,
or an emulator.
Emulator.
speaking, I'm sorry to tangent here. Speaking of Unasanas, I do want to call out Markiplier specifically because he is the one who actually gave me the idea for Powerwash Podcast in the first place.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Love
Markiplier.
me some
That's
Mark.
You are
Mark.
wonderful.
That's
He,
Mark. I love actually. So I want to say this because like I do love Markiplier. And if God forbid, he does watch this, I'm just gonna say like one of the best YouTubers got me through like some really tough crap in my life. But yeah, no, I actually did watch the Unis Honest, and I did also cry because it's like that, like you said, it's like the fact that life is important. So go out and live it. And honestly, it's rare to have that kind of message in things. So that's the only reason
It's
I
one of
also
the funny
really love
YouTube
Persona
videos
3.
too.
And that is y'all's homework. When Persona 3 comes out on Switch, I want all of you to play it.
I
I'm
want
gonna
to
So
know
fail
the
this
anime.
class. I'm I'm gonna fail that assignment. I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
I'll watch
Mrs.
the terrible
Samara.
anime.
no. Did you just say it's a terrible? I will kill you.
I'm
Jebus, you're
kidding.
no longer
I
my
haven't
child.
watched it.
You watch the anime.
Wow.
Don't watch the anime. Don't watch. Well, I mean, the anime is actually really quite good. But the game is better. Less
Just got
than Persona 3
flamed and then
is in
disowned
general.
the same day. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay.
You got adopted and disavowed in one
So
day.
many emotions
So
Congrats.
not
I'm
disavowed.
going through.
So, like again,
So
like I said,
I just posted something in the chat in
yeah,
our Discord, by the way, that I didn't want to say out loud
yeah.
on the podcast.
I don't blame you.
Where is it?
It's in Power
It's in the
Wash.
Power Wash channel.
Aww.
So, anyway,
Aw,
I'm sorry,
I'm
Clem.
sorry, Creme,
sorry,
but I
buddy.
do want to continue on thanking Markiplier for the idea. Thanking and Markiplier is also extremely supportive of creators in general. And I hope he watches this because I
If
want
he
him
watches this, I think all of us would die.
Probably.
probably, but
I
I
would
It's
do
okay, Mark.
cry
I
if
can
in the
take it. I need
actual
to see how
Discord.
much I
I
can
would just be
handle.
sobbing.
if he does
I'm
watch
like,
this,
somebody help me.
if he does watch this, I just want to thank Markiplier for being a huge inspiration in a lot of my creativity, a lot of my humor, and also being one of the very few YouTubers that I've watched as a kid who hasn't been
That you
doing
still watch
something
now.
that I still watch now, who hasn't done something god awful that paints them as the monster and is actually ends up being true.
There's a number of YouTubers I can call out with that.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
one specific
Right?
one I
We're
want to
not
call
gonna
out.
name names.
You know
We're
what?
not gonna
We're
name
not gonna.
Let's
Yeah,
names.
we're
not
not
name.
gonna.
Let's.
We're
We're
gonna
It's
not
a
gonna
good
name
I
idea
think
not
we
names.
to
can
name
We're not
all
names.
trying
thank
to profile.
Markiplier for a
I mean,
lot of
we're not
things.
good
Yeah.
people, but
Yes,
we're gonna
we can.
try to be. But
Let's
I
thank.
will
I don't know
say,
any.
I will say that like for me, the reason I also kind of got back into working on this game was I don't know if you guys have played in space with Markiplier. Play all of his games,
Ah,
his
yes, in
games by the way. They're
space.
so
God, yeah.
good, so good. Like just spend if you have a day off, just spend the whole day playing all of them because they are so good. And honestly,
It's
that's
so
they
good,
helped me so
and
much with
the
like
amount of
my
effort put into
creativity
it
and my
as well.
depression too.
Pretty well done.
Yeah, because it's like they were so good, and you could tell. Like he even said, he's like, I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I wanted to, and that was such a
Also,
powerful
Markiplier
message
loves
to me that
space.
I was like, you know what? I don't want to go to video game design because I want to make money. I just want to make games. So why am I going to school? I can just make games on my own. I don't need a big publisher. I can just do it by myself. And you know what? Look at me now. I am trying. So
Yeah,
literally, like, I don't think he understands how many people he's made such a huge impression, but definitely has done so for me, because if it weren't for the fact that he put that message of you go out and do your thing, nobody can stop you. And I'm like, heck yeah. I'm like,
Again,
I'm
I
gonna go
love
back and touch up on
Markiplier,
my games and do my art again.
and I just wanna thank him for the idea for this and being a huge inspiration on all of us.
No, absolutely.
on that note,
And
I would actually like to, if it's all right, shout out a couple of the podcasts Mark is in, as a sign of respect and
yes,
appreciation for
please
him.
go,
Uh,
do it.
so if you
Have you
enjoy
seen
this type of
Distractable?
content and Markiplier, check out the Distractable podcast and Go My Favorite Sports Team, both of which feature
Dude,
Markiplier.
Distractable is so
Uh,
good.
the
If you
Distractable
haven't watched
podcast also
Distractable, then you should
features
watch it.
Bob and Wade,
You should watch
Bob
Distractable.
Meisterns and Wade.
You should
Yeah,
watch it. Watch
you
Distractable.
should watch Distractable.
You
Leave me
should watch it.
And
alone.
Distractable.
I can't
In case you
remember
haven't
Wade's
watched it
last
yet.
name off the top of my
In case you
head,
haven't
but
watched
Lord Union
Distractable,
Seven
that's what you're
Seven.
looking for.
Um, and Go My Favorite Sports Team, which has God, I feel horrible. It is so late, and my brain is not remembering names right now. Tyler, Tyler Scheid, I believe his last name is. Uh, Another of Mark's friends, longtime friends from high school, I think. Um, they talk about sports, and it's actually really accessible for those not into sport very much, which applies to me. And it has
Also
taught me
applies to me as
so
well.
much about sport that I did not know. So go check that out, even if you're not into sports.
Amazing.
Sorry, I
So
didn't mean to do the whole Distractable.
this did actually segue pretty well into the last thing I want to talk about. If you notice, I didn't talk about what I look for in a video game when we were all talking about that. When Creme was looking for, when Jesus was looking for, looking for memory stuff. When Javi was looking for, uh, I forgot what y'all were looking for. Not gonna lie,
Good
but
We
balance of
both
like
shared
gameplay and
customization.
mechanics.
balance, customization, and everything. This actually segues into me wanting to end it. It is getting on 3 hours. We've discussed a lot.
Oh
We've
shit.
segued a lot. We have uh, tangented a lot.
So we do
We got
best.
So,
very
I have
distracted.
drawn many a character.
me, what I personally want, think drags a game down uh, is oversaturation. When they try to go too big, too grand, and that's that. It feels like that's that was happening with World of Warcraft. Remember how much I just love, and I mean love World of Warcraft. I could never get into any of the most recent expansions past Cataclysm. Mesa Pandaria was an obvious cash grab for panda monks, like from Kung Fu Panda. Uh,
Yeah.
Warlords of Draenor was actually cool, visiting the past, and it was so grandiose. And I thought they could never get past that. And that was the last time I really connected with WoW, because after that was Legion. And while the story was good, killing off the characters was impactful. It didn't have any of the same oomph like I really felt it should. Honestly, the only reason I ever played Legion was because Demon Hunters were finally a class, and Demon Hunters are so edgy and awesome, and wanted to play a Demon Hunter. But after that,
Sweet
Shadowlands came.
edge.
Please let me talk.
Yeah,
After that,
please.
Shadowlands came out, and the idea of going to the realm of death was cool, but didn't stand out to me as exceptionally amazing. But they didn't even do that much with it. They just turned it into another zone. So oversaturation and trying to go above and beyond everything is just what really drags the story of the game down. And I do want to reference the Moonlit Black Knight again. The first arc, the first three arcs have an overarching background behind it of massive war going on that all the characters, every single one needs to have at least some attention on, or else things are going to go horribly wrong. While the main arc of one is worrying about the Black Knight and mainly about the war. Arc two, don't forget about that war, but now we need to find where most of our team is. Arc three, don't forget about that war. It's coming to a close. Uh, Crap, Black Knight. It turns out he's not actually a psychopathic lunatic. He's actually a hero, a good guy. He's fighting for the greater good. Don't forget about that war, by the way. In Arc four, the four has finally gone to a close. I'm not trying to go big, great, and grandiose. Everything's just going as they go, and that's one thing I appreciate from things like The Boys, which I'm going on to not games anymore, but The Boys, and honestly, that's what I love so much about Arcane. From even though it's League of Legends and the world is very big and grandiose, Arcane never went anywhere close to that. It had a very specific story it wanted to tell. It had the few champions from the game it wanted to do. It made whole new characters just for the show, and it told its specific little story, and it never
Arcane made
went.
like a show that everyone can enjoy, and it's amazing.
I think the fact that
Arcane
it
made a
also.
pain simulator that
Oh
you
yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
I think that also the fact that it chose to stay small, like it didn't choose, like you said, there's so much more that they could have done if they wanted
Yeah.
to make it grand and big, but they chose to stick to little things. Like they chose to stay like between
The,
Piltover and Zahn, and
yes,
focus on specific characters and their relationships because that's really what matters with characterization. If you focus more on the grandiose and the big settings, you miss out on the development of the actual characters themselves.
exactly. And in Runeterra, we know the existence of demons. So I don't think we saw a single demon in all of Arcane. The most magic we actually saw in any of Arcane was those crystals and then Hextech, and that's it.
Yep.
No magic
I had
beyond
that
that.
one scene at the beginning where the dude like casts a
The
spell, just
mage.
gave the mom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and a flashback of a mage casting a spell. That's all the actual magic we got, and I loved it. It felt so compartmentalized. It felt so on its own, and that leads me next into what I want to see in a game. And this doesn't actually it doesn't actually like relate to not being oversaturated or grandiose, but it is something that Samarra mentioned. You can very, very clearly and easily tell the difference between a game someone worked on to make money and someone worked on because they wanted to do it. They love the game. Uh, Again, I'm going to use World of Warcraft as my example. Early World of Warcraft had so much love in it. There was so much care taken into every aspect of it. The quests all had their own little stories to tell. Like I remember this specifically. There's this one where an orc says, "My wife was out fighting. What are they called? Those little pig things. Was fighting the. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like
Orcs?
not the orcs. Yeah, the orc. There was an orc who wanted to find his wife. She was fighting the bristlebacks. Uh, and he said she was out there for a few days. Can you see if you can go find her? And I said, and so accept the quest. It's a little bit. It's some XP and then a little bit of copper and I think a silver or two. And you go out there and you follow the quest line and you have to fight some quillboars. That's what they're called, quillboars, and find their base, their camp, and everything. And you end up finding a the quest marker. It's a question mark, like to turn into quest, and you see the corpse of an orc woman, and it gives her name, and she has his same last name, and that's when I went, oh, I'm so sorry. I ran back, and all he had to say about that was, I understand. Thank you. So few words, and I felt like the love put into that. That was a story that didn't need to be told. It didn't do anything. It had zero impact on the rest of the story as a whole, but it still made you feel something. It was still something that someone was like, I want to make this, and so they made it.
I think it's easier to relate to a story and feel more connected to it when it's focused on the little things. Because
Exactly.
then that feels closer to your heart because it feels more relatable because it's the day to day that you can deal with and experience in your own time. And to see other characters, let alone characters in a game, go through that, it I guess it helps you feel a bit of comfort knowing that you're not the only one that has to deal with like the bullshit of day-to-day life. And sorry for the phrase of words, but that's like the best way to convey how I'm trying to say it. You're not the only one that deals with all of it, and that it even affects characters you wouldn't expect. And
Yeah. Like
in a way humanizes them more, makes them feel more alive,
that
more
was
believable.
the only interaction you ever have with that orc. He doesn't play any major role in the Burning Legion during the Burning Crusade. He doesn't suddenly come to save you or anything. He doesn't even move from his spot. That is the only thing he does, and it's not even related to the Burning Crusade. It's just this guy's wife went out to fight and she died. And modern WoW, if it's not something to do with the expansion as a whole, it's either uh, just a very minor thing that is meant to populate it and is usually just going to be a fetch quest. Oh, go grab this and bring it back. Oh, kill these monsters over here. I need to collect these pelts, or I just want these creatures dead. It doesn't mean anything.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
so
think
that's what I mean. Is that one was a short little story of you found wife, she's dead, guy sad. While the other ones in the expansion so far is go do thing, go do things so you can have time to do thing while do other thing, and it just doesn't mean anything. It's literally just ah, I've done it. I have killed the monster.
Yeah. It doesn't feel as personal or as real as real as it could be in a game World of Warcraft, but it doesn't feel as real because you don't make that same connection.
Exactly.
Because
And like
anyone can do a fetch quest, but like the fact that you have a character who just wants to know what happened to his wife, and then you go and have to relay the sad news that unfortunately she is dead.
and someone actually thought about making something just that small.
Yeah,
And like I said, the love put into a game, if someone actually loves their creation, you can tell. It's always the little details. I want to point out another small game that the creator actually really loves he made. It's a little horror game called Iron Lung.
yes. Oh
oh
my
my
god, yes.
god.
I Love
Oh,
Iron Lung
And
so much. It's
honest,
so
oh my god,
it's
that
it
game is
so.
just
conveys
it.
so much with so little, and I am deeply impressed by it.
Oh yeah, I
Like
Oh,
love
the
it.
game.
And
it
the
gives you a
des-
slight blob of text, a single note to find inside of the sub itself, and then
And
nothing
some
else.
PNGs.
Exactly. And
and
some pretty creepy ass PNGs.
and I also want to point out how
uh,
creative the gaming engine was. You're not controlling the sub.
Oh
The
my
sub
Yeah.
god,
is outside the
guys, I
map.
found the
It's
whole
just a
shit.
camera.
Yeah,
It's
you're
literally
literally
just moving the camera.
you're
yeah.
moving the camera. It's
I
so
think
good.
that is an example of doing
What's
a
that?
lot with very little.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Because the
So
game was really successful and, played wonderfully, but ultimately had very little mechanically actually happening, which is
Yeah.
so impressive that
That's
they
where
managed to
that's
build that
so
much atmosphere and tension
yes. The
with
atmosphere is
basically nothing.
incredible. But yeah, you're
Look
saying
down
Sadako?
here.
oh yeah, so I was gonna say so another game. I know I already
Look
told
down.
y'all I love Earthbound and I love it a lot,
Look up.
but there is another game that and even now Earthbound doesn't really have a lot of
This
recognition, but the
shit
music
we
everything
missed.
is perfect. Huh?
Nothing. Continue.
Something in game.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, so it's just like one of those games where it's like not. I mean, it's become popular now, but the one game, the one game I want to receive more recognition more than anything. And if anybody at Nintendo is listening to this, please, please, please localize Mother 3. I am begging you.
Mother
Millions of
3.
people are begging you. Huh?
I honestly, it's been so long since I had originally played it, but I like you're bringing back memories.
So heartbreaking, and it's one of those games like okay, so I played the you can actually have it. There was this really cool indie team, they got together and they basically localized the entire game. They literally took the entire text, and it is a tiny little Game Boy Advance game. Okay, it is a literal Game Boy game. I can play it on my phone. Okay, and but this game has so much heart in it. It actually breaks me. Like there were times that I had to stop playing because I was tearing up. And that's another thing where it's like the game you play and it's like it never received any kind of recognition because Earthbound did pretty poorly in the US. So they're like, yeah, we're not going to boot over the sequel on the Game Boy. No. And literally, we are talking one of the Nintendo presidents of America wanted it localized and he couldn't even get it. Like people have wanted this game. It's probably never going to happen and I've accepted that, but part of me hasn't accepted that. But it's like those games have created so many other games. Like, I mean, look at Earthbound. It created so many things. It created Omori. It created Undertale. It created all these other games, these indie developers who were inspired by even me, who was literally basing my combat off of Earthbound because I love the art style. I like the music and just like the bare bones of it. Like, it's not flashy, but it can be flashy, but it doesn't. It's a very little requirement, but it's in a way, it's because of the fact that it's so simplistic that it makes the game even better. Another game that was based off of Earthbound is Lisa. A lot of people love Lisa. That was based off of Earthbound mechanics. Literally, the guy who made the game said it's based off of Earthbound. And yet, people to this day still go, Mother 3 doesn't exist, I guess, in America. It never will. But it's like one of those games where it's like it doesn't have to be a blockbuster hit for it to have a heart to it. And then so it's like I play games like that, which literally never get the recognition they deserve. And it's heartbreaking because this is somebody's dream. And then I play games like I don't know. You said Halo Reach. I played Halo Reach. I felt nothing. I felt nothing when I played like some of these other games. Honestly, I finally played Borderlands 3. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's okay, but it's not Borderlands 2. And the reason I don't it's not Borderlands 2 is because the heart of that game is not there. Like that same, it was literally one of those games made to make money. You can tell the okay, so Borderlands 1 was fun, but Borderlands 2 had so much heart and just sheer stupidity and greatness. And it was just like you could tell the developers were having a good time the entire time they were making that game. You can tell in Borderlands 3 they wanted to quit their job. Like if I can tell that playing the game, that says something. And I feel
Very
like a
telling.
lot more developers what?
That's very telling, yeah. Where
It
like you can
is. It's very
tell
telling.
when you can tell the difference between what was intended to be like an actual game with a heart and soul versus a cash grab, it's
Yes.
it's very saddening.
It is. And I don't know. I guess maybe we're being just sitting here like twiddling our thumbs, being like demanding more food from the great awesome gods of Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. But I mean, but at the same time, I mean, as somebody who's now trying to develop her own game, and yeah, I have the support to create it. Like I have Crème and everybody else who wants to help voice act it. Like I would have never thought anybody would. I was not planning to voice act it at all because I was like, I
Absolutely
didn't
love to
think
help voice act
anybody
as
would
well.
I'm
listen
not
to it.
saying you have to. It's just as an option.
No, but the fact that somebody wants to help me, like I'm inspired now. Like I want to put even more depth into these characters because the thing is that I look at these characters and go, well, okay, I don't think people are gonna like them. But then I talk about them, and people are like, oh my god, I can't wait to see your game when it's finished. Or even like Nick over here, who literally said, I want to be Zaki. He's like, you must give me Zaki. And I literally was like, are you sure? Like I created him as like a very cringy character, and he goes, no, I need this. Like,
Yes.
it's like you don't know how much I need this. And it's like even the fact that I haven't even created the game. Hell, y'all don't even know what Zaki looks like because I have to redraw him. But the fact that y'all already like somebody out there is already rooting secretly for Zaki to get his main squeeze and sing poetry to her and rub her feet. I don't know. But like the point
Bro.
is it's like the fact that like there's already somebody who like loves this character and the character's not even completely created yet puts such a smile on my face and it inspires me more than any money. Like if I even did put this on Steam and I even did set up a Kickstarter to get it published, the most I would ask for it would probably be 9.99. Literally $10 because it's not about the money. It's not. It's about it's if anything, I would use that $10 to pay everybody. I'd be like, okay, who helped me with voice acting? I'm gonna pay you now. Like it, it's not about the cash. Like I'm going to school to become a nurse practitioner. Like I'm going to make good money. Okay. Like and I love being a nurse. I love taking care of people. I work in healthcare, but I also love creating stories and I love doing that. So I do that on the side. And that's okay. It's okay to have something you want to do. But I think it's just sad when you have people who are like me who are over here trying to make stories and but then you've got these big three, the big triple three, the big triple threat, coming in and they can't they struggle to find a game that has heart to it. And sometimes they do hit well. Like I mean, look at Breath of the Wild. Like that game is phenomenal.
Oh,
But like,
have I have an absolute
but then you have other
blast playing
games.
Breath of the Wild.
Oh my god, it's so much fun. But the thing is, then you have other games like Call of Duty, where you like literally wish you could had a button to turn the gun on yourself. Like because
Yeah.
literally there's no point. Like follow this direct path. It's another war zone. Somebody else killed somebody else. Like I don't want to play games like that have a repetitive storyline like that. Like I want there to be some heart. But
the
anyway, I'm
only
sorry. I'm getting on.
the
I'm gonna get off
only
my soapbox.
Call of Duty storyline I actually played all the way through was Ghosts, and I
Oh, Ghosts
actually
Ooh,
is
did
Ghost is
amazing.
like it.
good.
Yeah.
I really liked it. The beginning of it was strong. Brothers and their father. I can instantly relate to these characters. Father disappears, join brother with military stuff, and it was nothing like I was expecting. I was expecting, gonna fight in battle, whee, pew pew, like how multiplayer was. But no, it was actually two brothers going through this heartbreaking adventure with cool revelations and their father's past coming back to haunt them and eventually killing him. This is a spoiler for Call of Duty Ghosts. Yes, Elias dies. Uh, and I actually felt that. the moment Elias died, hearing Hesh and Logan yell "No!" and the voice acting on that was just amazing. It hurt. It actually hurt. It didn't break me enough to turn the game off, but I kept playing, and the ending was so heart wrenching. That's what I'm glad that was the ending because I would have stopped playing right after that. It was basically what was the guy's name? I can't remember what the name of the main villain was. He wasn't like the big boss of the enemy faction. He was just like a minor leader with a part of their army, but he was the main boss of the game because this is the guy Rorik. Rorik was an old friend of Elias who got brainwashed. Despite being the hardest and the toughest among Elias's team, he got brainwashed. And the reason he was captured in the first place was because Elias had the option of saving Rorik and sacrificing the whole team, which ends up killing Rorik anyway, or dropping Rorik and leading him to his death, letting him fall to his death. And when Rorik was
Oh, he got
captured,
the Winter Soldier treatment.
he got the Winter Soldier treatment. Uh, and so he was captured and brainwashed into blaming Elias and wanting revenge. And so he ends up getting his revenge, and now it's just Hesh and Logan getting revenge on Rorik. And at the end, you are members of the Ghosts. You are elite of the elite. You and Hesh are fighting on the train, doing a generic kill the enemies and get from point A to point B mission, but there's so much heart in that because you have a very clear, direct goal. And it's not capturing a point, it's not doing anything to advance military strength. It is pure anger, revenge. And as I'm playing through that, I'm like, I gotta get to the freaking end. I'm gonna kill Rourke. I'm pissed at Rourke. I hate this dude. You get to the end, and Hesh gives a quick warning, and then it cuts to another part of the game. Where it cuts where you're playing not playing Logan anymore, you're playing someone else. You're playing a soldier on a battlefield in a tank, and your tank gets busted, and you jump into another tank, and you're seeing what the warfare looks like on the front lines, and then suddenly you're in space, and you are in that soldier in the tank, and then you're Logan with Hesh on the train, and then you're in space, and you're fighting through a space station trying to take control of this orbital weapon, and you get to the launch pad, the launch area, as the guy whoever you're controlling, and you hear, "All right, stand by for orders. There's a moving train here this distance from the battlefield. We need you to launch the weapons on that train." And your character goes, "Sir, there's ghosts on that train. They're the ones that gave the orders, son." Cut back to Hesh and Logan, and Hesh gives the order, "On my mark, we need you to drop orbital weapons on this train." Hesh gives the okay, you both jump in, fight Rorik. You're losing. Rorik has Hesh pinned, and then Rorik silently reaches into his comm and says, "Mark." About a minute later, the train starts exploding. It's falling into water. Pressure is going to make everyone drown, and you have a slow motion part where you need to shoot Rorik as he's being tackled by Hesh, and you actually end up shooting him with his own revolver. The train crashes into water. Hesh and Rorik are drowning. Logan, you're controlling Logan still, and you end up having to grab Hesh and swim out slowly, barely going to have enough time to make it to land, and you drag him to a rock. You actually play dragging him through the sand and propping him up against a rock, and then it rolls credits. And I felt so satisfied. I was so happy that I finally killed Rorik. And after it plays all the credits and shows you the aftermath of the war, you don't play through that. It just shows the aftermath of the battle. It goes back to Rorik and Hesh, Logan and Hesh, and from Logan's point of view, suddenly your screen goes white and fuzzy and he collapses. And as Logan rolls on his back, you see Rorik standing above him, blood draining from his chest, and he goes, "You got moxie, kid." And he grabs you by your feet and starts dragging you away. and you see Logan's hands like reaching, crawling toward Hash. Hash is leaning over, can't stand up. He's yelling, "Logan, Logan!" And then it cuts to the end. And that is the moment I realized Logan is going to become the new Rorik. And that, like I said, you guys agreed with me. Ghosts was good,
This is very good.
and I played for that campaign, and that ending hurt so fucking much because you played the entire game as Logan. Maybe a couple times here and there where you're playing as someone else, but through 99% of the game, you're Logan. You're with Hesh. Hesh is your brother. Elias is your father, and Elias dies to an old, vengeful douchebag who isn't a douchebag by choice, but oh well. And you feel like you finally got your revenge, only for it to be stripped away from you.
There's something special about losing no matter what.
I
No
know.
matter how much effort you put in, all the effort in the world gone to waste and you lose anyways. There's something so
Right.
special about that.
That's exactly why I liked Infinity War so much.
Oh,
So that is
wonderful cinematic example.
it's just one of those things where it's like it makes it feel more realistic. Whereas these games are it's like, oh yeah, you save everyone in the end. Sometimes you don't save everybody in the end. Sometimes
Sometimes
everybody
you lose,
dies.
and there's nothing
Yeah.
anyone could have done.
And
No,
also,
and
I also really like the stories where even though you do win, it highlights the losses. Like
Yeah.
Fire
oh
Emblem,
yeah.
Well, the
it
thing is, here that's the thing about war. Like,
there's
yeah, we won, but did we really? There's
exactly.
In
so
the
much
end,
that we
no
lose
one
because of it.
wins.
Yeah, nobody
You know what
wins in
the
war is one thing I've
no.
heard a lot, and it really makes sense. And Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn really drove that home because at the end, after you complete the campaign, it shows you like a scrolling list of all the characters you controlled and what their fate was. With Micaiah,
And if
she
they
ends up
died, it shows them their chapter when they died, and it
yes,
it's emotionally breaking. Like I'm actually looking for Radiant Dawn again because I have a GameCube and I want to play it so badly, but I
if
can't
you
find it.
if you
And
ever
it's like,
get time to come down to West, if you come down here, I actually have it for the Wii.
oh my god, I have a GameCube, so I want it for my GameCube. I want the game the Radiant Dawn. I want it so or I want it so bad. I want it so bad, man. I like, but it's like $500, and I'm like, I don't know, you know. But anyway, yeah. So that's another
Jesus.
one. But oh, the other game I was thinking of is like y'all were talking about Metal Gear Solid, and I love Metal Gear Solid. But the game out of all Metal Gear Solid that is my all time favorite and I played on my PS Vita because I love it so much is Snake Eater. Oh my god, I love Snake Eater because the
What a
storyline
thrill.
is it's so good. The music really the intro is just so good. Snake Eater. I still listen to it. I love it. But the thing that breaks me is the fact that the entire game you were being told you're gonna have to go after boss. You're gonna have to kill big boss, and you you are like emotionally prepared. Like, yeah, she betrayed us. You know, she's a traitor. You know, yeah, we get to kill her. And then in reality, not only do you find out she created you, you also find out that she didn't, and she did it all on purpose. And in the end, it is the one scene at the very end that like tears me apart. Like if you ever want to watch me emotionally just break, like I I can't. So a lot of things I can watch now. Like if I play a game after like a while and I play it again, so like sometimes I'm desensitized to it, but I'm like so I don't cry, but I still smile sadly. Nuh-uh, nuh-uh. The end of Snake Eater, I cry every freaking time, especially when he's at her grave and it's like she will always have been a true American soldier, and I'm just like weeping. Like I don't know what like that game is and it's just like you said, no sometimes you don't get to save everybody. Sometimes, there is people that, are in the end you thought they were bad and they were good the whole time and now you want to save them, but you know what? You can't save everybody. and it oh
I think the thing that really impacts me more with Fire Emblem though is that you can save everybody,
yes.
but as hard as I absolutely tried, the Lori, I think her name is, the healer that you get toward the beginning, who is the childhood friend of one of my favorite characters, Aaron.
Oh
I
God! You
absolutely
killed Lori?
I
Did you
couldn't
kill Lori?
I Creme, if you need to go, man, you can go ahead and go. But we will be
I
wrapping
don't
this up
I
soon.
don't want to drop out early, but I should get some sleep
Yeah,
soon.
I want to wrap
Oh,
this up. Okay, let's wrap this up with. I played through this. I played through that mission like 15 times trying to save Lori. I did
no.
everything I possibly could, but I couldn't, and I was just so done after that last attempt that I was like, she's on. I can't do this. I had to keep watching her die over and over, and there's nothing I can actually do. She's so high level and she has so little health.
She's just she unfortunately she's one of those characters that in the end you knew she was going to be cannon fodder and there's nothing you can do. And
It's not
I
even
think
that. I was trying to protect her. Everyone else was so tanky, but the AI just kept targeting her.
well yeah, cuz she was the weakest link. And yeah, now Fire Emblem's a lot more gentle now. Like I love Three Houses. It's a great game. The characters are great, the story is great, the options are great, but it's a lot more you have the opportunity where you don't get to watch the characters die. And I feel like that takes a lot of the fun of Fire Emblem out of it because the whole point is like you're at war. People die. And so because of your decisions, people will die. And like even the characters, if you choose a certain house, the other house, if you don't recruit them all, you're going to end up killing them. And you have to be a certain level on their like scale of like being like I don't know, social link, I don't know. But the point is like, and even their death animations kind of ooh. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Anyway,
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. We've talked all on and on in circles on what makes games great and what makes games not so great. And I think we've added a lot of our opinions and honestly just straight up facts to a lot of this.
and
But with that being said, thank you for joining me this Creme, Jesus, Javi, Samarra on my first ever Podwash Powercast talking about video games. I
To
think we
wrap
have talked
things
our
off,
hearts
can I
out.
say one last great
Yes.
video game? We won't get into why it's great. This is the audience game where you have one shot.
Absolutely agree. I watched Markiplier play it. That's all I'm gonna say, and it broke me. Viewers, get one shot or watch Mark play it. Either way, Mark ends up getting a funny achievement early on, and God, that game is just so painful and so good.
just realized that we're all like Markiplier fanboys in here, slash my
Yeah,
own girl.
yeah.
So like, if anything, people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's just another Markiplier fan group."
Another Markiplier fan crew.
Another
Oh
Markiplier
boy.
fan group.
Well, anyway, Creme, sign off. Perfect. Jesus, sign off.
Oh, that's gonna take me a while. I
Okay,
gotta
that's all he's
edit
got to
this
say
out.
then.
Did you actually want me to say something?
That was perfect. Basically,
Uh,
say the goodbye to everyone. Say goodbye to the the
Bye.
everything.
so long, audience. So long, my fellow co-hosts. This was a wonderful time. I look forward to seeing you all again, including you, wonderful audience.
Jesus,
In
This
case
is
we don't
Creme.
see you.
Bye. Bye, lovely people.
Javi. He's washing dishes. Samara?
Okay. And in
I
case
no,
we don't
I
see
was
you,
I was muted this entire time. That's my bad.
okay, go ahead.
Javi?
Go ahead.
I'm saying
Go,
stuff,
Javi.
and I just no one's been able to hear me.
Go.
I was muted this whole time.
Were
Okay.
you talking a lot?
All right.
Yeah, I
Javi,
was.
Wow.
go ahead.
Okay.
Classic.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for watching this stream. I'm still
This
going
was
giddy from what happened. This is
chaos.
this has been absolute chaos, and I've loved it. Uh, this is actually I think I'm gonna throw my hat into the ring, sometime soon. I might try to see if I can get a stream in before the 11th, because from the 11th to the 22nd I'm gonna be out. Um,
Nice.
but I hope it all goes well. This has been a fantastic time, Nick. Thank you for inviting me to this. This has been absolute blast.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
and I'm thinking of doing some streams of my own. I'd like to know if on some occasions you'd like to join me.
Hell yeah. If I
Ellie
can
will
make it, I'd
will
love to.
remember this
Crème, you already
betrayal.
know you're invited.
Ellie will remember this.
Ellie will remember this.
Crème will remember this.
So
Everyone, honestly, everyone here is welcome for it. You know, I have
awesome.
no
Yeah.
qualms about it.
I'm
And
a broke
especially,
hoe with no computer. Like, I
I'm
don't know
willing to
what you want from me.
beat your butt
ah, it's
in
all good.
multiverse
The commentary is great.
multiverses.
All right. He
But
just said
yeah.
he's gonna whoop you in multiverses, so now you and I have to whoop him in multiverses.
Oh,
Sounds
absolutely.
fair.
I just downloaded it today. So,
Now
Let's begin the training montage.
but
I'm sorry, isn't that mobile?
He's
Because
and
I
really
spelled
good.
the
and
wrong
copyright.
W.
we're signing off,
Uh,
guys. Samara,
yeah, my bad.
sign off.
And in case we don't see you, because I kept getting interrupted, good evening, good morning, good evening, and good night.
I'm gonna finish off by saying thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you all take care, stay safe, and I guess I'll see you Starside.
Damn it, Javi,
You
that's
too.
what I was
You
gonna
too.
say.
You.
Ah.